Hello, chat. Hold on. Forgot to open one of my apps. Welcome back to Magic Fish Radio. Tonight we are returning to Exit to Eden, our consistent campaign of World of Darkness in space. Hey players, do you want to say stuff to help me make sure that your audio works?
Space!
Yay!
I am the best at space.
Hello.
Hey, hi, dragons. Yes, son, I am all the dragons.
Dad, yes, son, are we in space? Yes, son, we could be a family again. I haven't played that game, but yeah, when that venue came out, that meme went around a lot. I got real familiar. But I like it, so maybe someday I'll play the game, because I actually really like the meme.
There's an official portal mod for Skyrim for a while that lets you put the space core in there. You can carry around the space core and have it talk to you. And that's where the Line of the Dragons comes around, because it only comes from the official portal core space mod for Skyrim. Yes, I am all the dragons.
Alright, so, welcome to our stream. I'm your hyper-caffeinated, underslept GM, Ms. Chrysula. And, everything that goes wrong tonight will be my fault. At least I know this now.
It may be the dice's fault.
Oh! Good point. It is either my fault or the dice's fault. That said, let's introduce our players tonight while I calculate the pool of in-game bonuses. Let's go on my screen, let's go clockwise. Merc, who are you tonight?
I'm muting my tab. I'm Merc. I play Idun the Wolfblood. It's a little bit like a werewolf, but not quite. Still the closest this team comes to a normal human. My current alias is Derek Prosser. In the Limos system, at least.
Yes. Next, yes, because we have actually exited from Eden for this series, this plot line. Our Karve Tourism Ltd / Underground Railroad for Supernats has moved, temporarily relocated to a system that needs its help. Next, Josh, who are you playing tonight, and how many aliases do you have? Because I can't keep track anymore. That's fine, but I can't.
Sure. I'm Josh, playing Petruchio, alias Rosenkrantz. Never mind, the Petruchio is themself an alias.
Aliases within aliases within aliases within virtual reality within aliases. And Zardoz, who are you tonight, and who do you look like, I wonder?
This is just a temporary name. I will actually be operating today under the name of, it'll show up on the screen in a sec.
Sunshine? No, Sungrazer? Johnny Rando.
Johnny Rando. Okay.
But not Rando Calrissian?
Not Rando Calrissian. Eventually, we'll get to a place where this uniform, this idea I've spent time and energy on, will be helpful. We have yet to find that place.
Sorry. Bureaucracy is slow on this planet, because that's the thing about systemic injustice.
No, it'll be fine. I have plans for when that particular day comes, and it'll be glorious.
We will get there. It's just, out of character, my brain is allergic to summer, even when there isn't an apocalypse going on.
No, that's fine. But, yeah, I'm Rando today.
So do you look like any of the PCs, or have you made up a whole new mirror mask?
I have made up a new face that is composed of bits and pieces of Sungrazer's mortal face and Klaus's face.
just to be extra random.
Yes.
Yay!
Just to be difficult again.
Again, I am reminded of a Red Dwarf episode. Huzzah.
Mighty Mask is a delight.
So, viewers, if you're watching live, thanks! We do well by your eyeballs. If you're watching in the future via VOD, also thank you for your eyeballs. This is Exit to Eden, Worlds of Darkness in Space. So basically, NWoD COD in a far-flung future where humanity lost Earth, moved out into the stars, and whether they knew it or not, the Supernats went with them. The core colony planets were founded in, year zero. It is now year 41-something. I am hearing some weird feedback, so... Chat, feel free to tell us if there is anything wrong with the audio, because it's me, so there usually is.
And other people talk for a minute, I'll listen to the stream.
Okay. So... so our intrepid band of World of Darkness protagonists are part of an underground railroad. Now it is, so year zero, the core planets were founded. About 2,000 years after that, they moved out into what is now known as the Expanse region of space. About 50 years ago, humanity moved out into the Verge world, which is kind of like the Rim in Firefly. In 1700, the interdimensional alien race known as a Thurizaz, aka the True Fae, tried to conquer this galaxy from the Arcadian realm. And after which, all of the veils of all of the Supernats in the galaxy fell with a rather unsatisfying thud. At about the year... right before the 4000s opened, there was another war against the Silent, which turned many supernaturals against their own people, even though they had lived okay-ish with humanity for a few thousand years. And now it is illegal to be a supernatural creature in the core planets. It is technically not illegal to be a supernat in the Expanse region, but as planets in the Expanse, or sectors in the Expanse, or star systems, are being given an opportunity to join the core planets officially, they have to start adopting their really crappy laws and social injustices to make nice with the center of the galaxy. Which brings us to Karve Tourism Ltd, which is the front for an underground railroad that gets Supernats and other folks which can pay out of the core systems, well, out of the core, out of the Expanse systems where it's getting mean, and usually out into the Verge worlds, where it's still a very, very early colonial stage where they actively need monsters to fight monsters, whether it's spirits, whether it's Arcadian agents, whether it's ghosts. That gets weird, says we didn't think people lived on this planet yet.
Well,
Space
the
is...
husband died there apparently, and
how...
of course then there's the natural hazards. You know, nice to have like a life person to deal with, matter person to deal with a lava flow or whatever.
Or a werewolf that can, heal bashing when they sneeze. Throw the werewolf at it. They'll come back alive. Merc, how's our audio?
You sound pretty good, but nobody else talked during that time, so I don't know about anybody else.
Well, I hear your voice feedbacking through someone else's speakers, so I think it's working.
Yeah, it seems you're working.
Okay.
Okay, it must be going back through mine because I don't hear it.
It might have been coming back through mine briefly because I didn't quite get the mute-unmute done. Right, I listened through speakers, so...
Okay. So, our heroes are currently, our protagonists, because it's World of Darkness. Is anyone really a hero in the World of Darkness? They think they are. our player characters originate from the system Idun, which was clearly founded by space Vikings, and seems to be the last bastion of tolerance among peoples in the entire Expanse. As more and more Expanse systems want to play nice with the core planets by being hateful towards their favorite new class of scapegoats. And, ironically, most other forms of hatred and tolerance that we humans know of today have pretty much fallen apart. There is no more homophobia, transphobia, skin tone racism. However, all those isms have instead traded their energy into mondo classism, which is rampant, and hatred of the Supernats.
Speciesism.
Speciesism, yes. Supernat phobia? I don't know. We haven't come up with a pithy name for it yet.
Humanism, but it's taken.
So yes, the Sandin system, which is another Expanse system, had an actual purge of its supernatural peoples, leading to a mass exodus on a ship full of changelings to Eden in the last few months. And unfortunately, it sounds like this system, Limos, is heading in a similar direction. It is now illegal to do magic on the planet. Limos' main planet is Logoi, the main habitated planet, which is just one city-coded planet. And once magic became illegal, and it was clear that hate crimes were being relabeled as muggings, the Supernats pretty much all fled to another planet in the system that's kind of crappy called Dysnomia. Our player characters are currently on Logoi trying to figure shit out and see where they can help and/or profit. And yes, they made contact with the bar called... What did we say? The bar was Charybdis? No, the bar was Scylla.
It was Ska. Something Ska.
The bar was Scylla. A bar run by a changeling bartender who might be one of the last changelings in town. They met another changeling, Sister Salvation, who had an interesting... more than one interesting proposal. But we'll let them talk about that in character. And a strange man in a white skirt suit, that they're still not really sure what his deal was, but he seemed to know a lot of the local Supernats and got messages out to non-changeling Supernats left in the city, because there are some, and they don't want to leave, and he himself is at a loss for how to move them. But for one thing's for sure, he and the bartender, he and Maya, the bartender, are not interested in staying in Logoi. They're like, this ship is sinking.
And they're not interested in going to Dysnomia either.
There are people who think that, oh, well, we'll just be safe on this piece of crap Dysnomia planet, which is a lot like Mars, only yellow. Others are not convinced because, well, if we put all of the Supernats in the system in one place, we're that much easier to nuke.
Especially when there was nothing valuable there to begin with.
Also, it's not just the planet of Logoi that wants to join the core planets. It is the entire star system, because that is how that works. So yeah, our PCs have their hands full. But their friend in white did... Maya got them in contact with the changelings, which was last game's interesting interaction. This week, another invitation will come up, which we will get to in character. So, game notes.
Worth noting, Dune has never actually met the person in white.
Yep, neither has Klaus. It's been another couple days since since Dune and Rando, along with Klaus, met Sister Salvation of the Church of the Weird. In that time, you have...
Acquired a new lighter.
Oh, yes. You made something go kaboom with it, and that was very fun.
Yes, but that was the end of that lighter.
Yeah, unfortunately. Sacrifices must be made. So I dare say you saw Petruchio within the next couple days after that. Do you tell them, about what happened? Why don't you do that in character? So later that day, evening, it's so hard to tell when half of the city doesn't see the sun. Fully urbanized, fully cyberpunked city, where only the tops get to see the sun on a regular basis.
Somehow, that doesn't bother Petruchio much.
I really don't mind.
So yes, I'll say you two see Petruchio at least the next day, so what do you tell them?
So, yesterday, or the day before, was perhaps a bit interesting. I went down into the deeps of the city, even deeper than we are parked now, and I have found the edge of the werewolf territory, or at least what is left of it. And there are warnings to stay out. Not warnings that they will be angry if we cross in, but that if coming in, there will be no going out. Not because they will keep us here, but because something else would.
Was that the end of your contacts? I assume you followed the warnings, because you were still here.
Correct. I did not go in. I was only looking for the edge of the territory, as I do not belong to that pack, and would not attempt to cross into that territory without any code or permission. That is a good way to get yourself killed, even with a regular werewolf pack, much less one disinclined to leave its territory.
So they have no guards or contacts or anything. They just have warnings showing that if you go in, you won't be able to come out, and it won't be our fault.
There was I don't know if it used to be a real bird or not, but there was a bird, and it was perhaps at least partly mechanical, especially given how deep I was in the city. Deep enough that even the light did not shine, and there were things rotting down there that do not normally rot.
Right.
Not like the Blighter cult, but not wholly different either.
And did you talk to this bird? Is it able to communicate?
It made a bird sound, but it also made mechanical sounds, and then it left without saying anything. I don't know whether or not it could speak, but it did not choose to speak to me.
Very well. If they know, if it's a guard of some sort, then presumably they know you were trying to reach them, and they will reach out, or they won't. As a kindred, I know where to not to go where I'm not wanted, and not to enter without an invitation.
Indeed. Though I don't believe that kindred are very much in the habit of tearing your arms and legs off and leaving you for whatever is in their hunting.
That's not entirely the case. Also, some of us are, in fact, not myself, but some of us are, in fact, unable to enter without an invitation. But that's another matter.
That is more your purview than mine. I believe we also met with a changeling yesterday, but that is not really my purview either, and I think that should be the one to speak to you about it, as I believe he understands it more than I do.
Yeah, you have a business meeting in a couple of days. It'll be great.
I haven't heard from you in a couple of days?
No, you'll have a business meeting in a couple of days with the changelings.
Well, yeah. Oh, I have a business. Wait, I have a business meeting a couple of days from now.
Yes.
With whom?
The changelings.
Good to know. Is there anything I need to know before I go into this meeting with this person I've never met?
That's an interesting question. So what I can tell you without having to cause any international incidences is there's an object. We think it's an object. We're not exactly sure what it is. Of such amazing potential devastation that the changelings are willing to stay here to keep it out of the hands of presumably bad people. However, given the fact that we have a ship that is capable of moving it, they're more than happy to move it along with the rest of their group off of this particular planet with us when we leave. The downside is we can't ask them about it, we can't observe it, we can't interact with it at all.
Right.
Unless
How much of a
Oath Circle.
I mean, if you want to swear to that oath circle, that's entirely up to you. But I was not going to volunteer you for that without you talking to them first.
I believe it is some form of changeling contract, much more binding than any sort of legal document.
I am familiar with oaths that are much more binding than a legal document.
There you have the advantage of me. It is not my particular wheelhouse, as it were.
We in the first house are rather used to such things. I would be willing to enter such an oath circle in order to find out about this thing, at least so I can make sure that we give it the appropriate amount of space. I assume that they're going to need some amount of private space to move it around, so that nobody who is not part of their circle can see it.
That is the idea I got from the conversation we had.
But apparently it can be transported by the hollow in our ship, which they were not aware was a for now.
Oh.
It can even be transported so that others can be transported in the hollow as well. It will not take up the entire space.
Oh, here's your bill for a Sungrazer's outfit.
That shouldn't be a problem.
That's fine. Dude set it on fire.
I did not set it on fire. I set the hedge piece on fire, and you were the one who decided to come up and punch the thing in the face.
I was already punching it in the face when you set it on fire.
To be fair, where I set it on fire was not the face. The fact that it ended up at the face is an unfortunate consequence, to be sure.
Right, that's why he got the bill and not you.
Well, some of us may get extremely upset with the notion of things being set on fire, but I personally do not.
I think that's Sungrazer's only outfit, so time may be a thing.
If he needs to borrow some, he may borrow some. And I pull out, I assume we're having this on the ship, and I pull out a shirt that is definitely way too big for Sungrazer. Because it's one of Dune's pictures. Like, most of the people on the ship would probably be swimming in this shirt.
Wait, what is it that Dune pulls out?
A shirt.
Okay.
One of my shirts. Also, I must, on the other hand, I don't understand that why you can borrow his face, but you can't do the same thing and simply simulate his clothing instead of stealing it from him. Or me, for that matter.
It's called Many Mask, not Many Wardrobe. The name gives it away.
Right.
Apparently some changelings can conceal entire spaces using magic, but that is not in your wheelhouse, I suppose.
Concealing things? No, not my department.
But making clothes look like other clothes, when you can do faces?
Also not my department. not a tailor. Lawyer, law, piano player, not tailor.
Not apparently a magic user either.
No. Never claimed to be a magic user.
Lawyers are not tailors. Got it.
Lawyer, not tailor.
Lawyer, not apparently a very good actor either.
Maybe Klaus knows how to make clothing that turns into other stuff.
I don't know that I would ask Klaus for any kind of.
Well, by your logic, Klaus is a magic user, so ergo they must know how to make clothing.
I'm glad you think so.
Got it. You can change your face, you can't change your clothes. Moving on.
That's all I have. It's been fairly quiet around the rest of the ship.
Oh, and by the way, you're still in Ponos.
Yeah, we're still in the bad neighborhood. Evidently, they did not take your sassy tone very seriously.
They're not intended to.
You might want to tone it up a notch if you want to get us out of this junkyard.
Which reminds me, chat, this ship still doesn't have a name. If you put in 1,000 channel points, you can suggest a name for the ship, and once we have enough of those, the players will vote on them off camera. And we will see what we get.
On the other hand, if we stay in this neighborhood, I pull out a box of parts, gun parts. It's entirely up to you. However, it would be rather hard to conceal this from a much nicer area. Here, I can walk out and they wouldn't blink an eye.
I don't know about that. We haven't actually seen the cops other than that first time we landed, so we have no idea what their response would be to actual people running around with guns.
Well, if you build something, make sure you completely disassemble it before we leave.
Of course. I am very familiar with all the guns in my possession.
Oh dear.
Thanks, Fadior.
Super thanks. Somebody had to.
Also, other things you can do with channel points include buying bonuses for the GM or the players. Players, you currently have a pool of 14 plus ones. Because we are using a truncated World of Darkness system based on this book plus COD, and we make it make sense. Where instead of it being rolling fistfuls of d10s, every dice roll is 1 d10 plus your dots. Or plus these plus ones that you can buy for me or the players. And players, you have 14 right now. Unless other people start buying them. So yeah, channel points. You can also use cash, but in my experience, our viewers don't have a lot of that to spare, so channel points. Don't feel bad.
Oh, did you make contact with the slightly tilted vampire who runs this town?
I was intending to. I believe I've reached out to such a vampire. I haven't gotten an invitation yet.
I wasn't sure because we went different directions, so thought I would check back in to make sure that that had been located, I would guess would be the term.
GM, I believe that I had sent a message through our contact in the bar. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, you did. The dude in the skirt suit was able to at least get your information to some vampires who could put it up the chain because vampires. You were also working out blind drop spots on the dark web for your contacts.
Yes.
And one of them has responded. You know, he's a kindred who uses he, him pronouns exclusively. You don't know much else about him. But he has been checking. Basically, there is now, you know, a message board on the local dark web. He's on Dysnomia, and he's just like, "Hey, I'm around." You know, he's facilitated a lot of people out of the system, either who originated here or were coming through here to, you know, for your services. So you know, he's like, he goes by Tobias. He's like, "Yeah, I'm on Dysnomia, but you know." I'm in touch. I'm checking the drop regularly. High or whatever.
Sure. I'll send something back saying we have assets on Logos if there's anything more immediate.
You have assets on Logos?
Is it Logos where we are?
Lagoi.
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 Okay.
Plural and singular. It's hard.
Out of character? What assets do you mean?
Us.
Oh, duh. Okay. Actually, no. Tobias would be like assets. What's left on Lagoi? Us. Oh, I get it. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going back there, but I mean, drop me a line when you finally come join us on Dysnomia. Or, you know, have a further escape route. Very interested in that idea.
Us is, you know, what I actually send through the blind job is not us. That's for the GM. It's employees. It just happens that one of the employees is, you know, me.
Okay. It's like, oh, carve people. You've got carve people on the ground? Okay. Well, then I'll definitely keep checking this regularly. Alright.
Apparently, once he decides what the name of the ship is, I'm just trying to figure out what font we're going to put it in on the outside of the hull. So I'm just sitting there, just cycling through fonts.
Shirkia, what you know of Tobias? Again, male presenting. As far as you can tell through the internet, you've never met him in person. Tobias, male vampire. He's part of the Deliverance Network. You're pretty sure, for one, fun. 2, justice for other people. 3, he seems to be of the opinion that kindred are monsters.
Hey, he ain't wrong.
Yeah, like, so he's an interesting person to talk to. Where he's like, yes, get the changelings out, get the werewolves out, but it's like, vampires, do we? Fine. I mean, they gave me a boon. Okay.
Sure. I will send if you have any clue where, assuming they're not just killing them, where the disappeared are getting kept, that would be fantastic.
I would also love to know that. I have no idea. All I know is they're not on Dysnomia. But they were black bagging not just Supernats, but like confirmed regular humans who were like, let's not kill Supernats. So, like, yeah, I don't know. They could just be dead and just, covered up more effectively than all the hate, quote, muggings that happened. I pretty much lost a lot of my contacts and influences on Lagoi when I left.
Yeah.
They
could.
Yeah.
If not, they've got a concentration camp somewhere.
Oh, yes. And there is a lot of city on that planet, and a lot of it is officially empty. One of those could be anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I can ask around, but I mean, I'm not sure they would want to make a camp like that in, like, an abandoned territory of werewolves or vampires or however changelings do things, I forget. Mages, who the fuck knows?
Changelings, weirdly.
Not a smuggling ship. That's the name.
I don't know about the rest of them, but I do know that such camps would probably require power more than would be drawn by a truly empty section of city. You may have a better chance of tracking them if you hack the civic engineering nets.
So I will say, hey, we have an advanced futuristic car set, I'm sure. I use a character for weird that is a combination of EI overlapped with Y.
I don't know.
Please ask us about our struggling departments. Do you like this font? Because I'm holding up the big tablet.
The jelly cat is sitting at your feet going, "Blow." It seems to agree with the font. Blow. Blow.
Hey, don't say I never had a sense of humor.
Blow.
Okay, maybe only a little bit of a sense of humor.
I just reach down and scritch it.
Your fingers go slightly into the film of slime on it, but it seems to enjoy it. So it's like Choo Choo Bear from Something Positive, only World of Darkness style and green.
That's the
Jelly
important part.
cats.
As long as they enjoy it.
Part cat, part jellyfish, maybe part slime mold, all attitude. But yes, Jellycat seems to be fine just hanging out on the ship. You have not it leaves a trail, a slime trail that dissipates eventually, but you have not seen that go off the ship, so okay. On the other hand, invasive species on a planet with like an entirely artificial ecosystem, or an ecosystem that is now mostly urbanized, like,
Are you going to notice, and how long will they actually survive?
Is Jellycat mildly acidic?
Sometimes, yes. I mean, it would have to be, because it often... You think it consumes things sometimes like a slime mold? Like, it doesn't lap up milk, it sort of drips a bit of itself into the milk, and the milk kind of is absorbed. Because Choo Choo Bear. Anyway. So, on top of that, y'all are basically, I take it, keeping your digs on the ship?
Yes.
For convenience? Okay.
Yeah,
but
I think so.
Still occasionally going to the bar Scylla.
Yep.
Or Ska, because a lot of the fluorescent lights are out or flickering. So it's more like Anyway.
Actually, if Nyal doesn't have something else they're working on, that they're working on heavily, see if I can get them searching public databases and at least identifying what sites could and couldn't be used for such a concentration camp. Because it's a big planet, but I have a computer.
It is a big... Okay, give me a Hacksaws roll, because unlike in Eden City, these records are not public.
Yep.
Although, Eden City isn't a planet-wide megacity with catacombs. But still, here that information isn't public, so give me some Hacksaws rolls.
Sure. Do you want Nyal to make a roll, or should I just make a roll? I'm totally fine with me making a roll.
Does anyone else want to help?
I'm just going to my politics to get access to the government.
Okay.
With my cover identity.
I can punch the computer.
Do that. Punch it good. Punch the knowledge good.
This is why Rosencrantz has their own office in the real office. It's like, so their computer stopped getting punched. So yeah, give me a Hacksaws roll.
Sure.
Remember, you have 14 plus ones.
Yep. But let's go with. I mean, I already have a plus 10 in plus computer, so I think I might be okay. We'll find out.
Don't roll a 1.
Yeah, don't roll a 1 is right. So that is a 13. That is not a 1.
Okay. So I will say
wait,
that is...
actually, do I have a specialty as well? Yes, I do. So 15.
Oh, okay. So that's 3 successes. So there's a lot of ground to cover. However, once you get access, once you've given yourself access to this database of badly managed municipal records, you can set up an algorithm to start kind of sorting through them. You're not convinced they are completely up to date or accurate, but it's the start.
Yep.
And maybe the more Supernats you talk to in town, the more insight you'll have, and you can streamline your search parameters.
Sounds good. And given that I've got an AI running it, I should be able to do that relatively quickly by, say, talking to the AI who's running the search.
It's a lot to cover.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing, like, you're gonna set it up not low and slow, but it's like, this will be my background thing, and I will have it ping me when it finds interesting things. Sorry, I'm just writing this down so I don't forget this happened. Because my brain is extra melty in the summertime.
You want me to go ahead and make that politics roll?
Sure. If Rosencrantz is letting you look at their computer, like, yeah, you can get what?
Well, no, I have my records from the station when we came in.
Mm-hmm.
I will just use that as an introduction to the planetary governor's office. With the cover, I'll have an imperial inspector. I'm here to check out the planet to make sure.
Okay. My notes say you did that already, though.
I did, but we never rolled for it.
Okay. Okay, if you want to roll for it.
Sure. Hey.
Did you just 10 again?
I did.
Oh, for fuck. Okay.
I'm guessing politics is involved.
Yes.
My specialty contract should not necessarily apply. Which would you prefer, presence or manipulation? Or wit?
I think it's manipulation would work better.
Okay.
For what you want.
Goats on fire. That's a 27.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, that's... So fun fact, chat. You can re-roll 10s when you roll the 10 on the one dice. You get to re-roll it and add more to your roll. And a crit success is typically 5 successes, which is a 20. You now have 7 successes. I do not have that prepared yet, but now it is in my notes. So
yeah, so that's in the notes when we get there.
Yeah, you have basically launched your fake credentials into the pneumatic tube of the bureaucracy, and it made a very satisfying thump noise as it went in, and you're like, I feel good about this. But so that's what you get for now. I am making note of the ridiculous roll.
Not a problem. Like I said, just so that we know how that's going, or that it is going.
Thank you, Fadier. You just bought me 5 GM plus 1s, which now gives me a pool of 30.
You could have just bought us an NPC to interact with. That would have been...
Oh, well, he did. He did.
He did.
Could have bought us 2.
Space Uber driver who can take them off planet for a dread price. Only 1?
Oh, that's gonna be... Oh, how many days are left on my murder watch? I think we're at about 10.
Yeah, it's getting there.
Okay.
Alright, I am checking some notes real quick.
Fadier, Murder Watch?
Oh yeah, there's a huntsman. Look it up, Changeling Huntsman. And, you know, they're on a clock. They're down for a month.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Loki, but maybe. We'll see.
What about Loki?
Something about Ms. Minutes from Loki.
Cartoon
no,
character.
it is not Ms. Minutes.
Okay.
That would be awesome. That's more of like what Niall is.
Okay. So,
More charming, I think.
so
No,
yeah,
the murder watch is counting down the days until the huntsman comes back and tries to kill you again, I believe.
Yeah. Great. I actually have a coordinated plan for that to be very funny when it happens. Because I will not be around you when that happens. It'll be super fun. Kiss.
Woohoo. And, you know, it'll be extra fun dealing with a huntsman in a city where there are almost no changelings to upkeep the hedge.
Yeah.
Or to manicure and manage the hedge. No, this is, so huntsmen are entities sent by the True Fae to recapture changelings, and they can be, if you take one to NCAP, they're basically out of commission for like 28 days, for a moon cycle or a month. It depends on the humor of the story, because changelings. So some changelings just start a stopwatch.
Yep.
It has been this many days since a huntsman attacked me. Whee!
Yep. It'll be awesome.
So yeah, in fact, the Nova Court, which is similar to the Summer Court, but one of the cosmic courts of changelings, just has a whole wall of people's stopwatches in Eden City, in their headquarters, where it's just like, oh, Damien's up. All right, everyone, do you want to stick with okay, posse up with Damien. We might have a huntsman to kick the shit out of. Yay! So changelings are so nice on Eden.
Oh, yeah.
So willing to help out. Ooh, we get to kill shit! Yay! We get to legally kill shit! Yay!
Time to posse up and kick the shit out of somebody.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So,
Who's got some unresolved aggression they need to work out? My therapist said to do this.
You know, there probably is a Nova Court therapist. There's a Nova Court doctor, but he's a bit of a character, and a drunken one at that. Alright, so Mr. Rando has rolled for his bureaucracy today, and Mr. Mix Rosenkrantz has started their algorithm, and you know, you've got nothing else to do this evening, why not go to that Scylla bar and see if any of your more mundane contacts have shown up. Feelers, yes. Your analog feelers have turned anything up. And you get there, it's the same walk down from the shipyard, or the parking lot basically, which gets some light, and then since it's about the end of the day anyway, it is pretty much pitch black by the time you get like halfway, like a half mile down to where the neighborhood of the bar, where it is just a door in a wall that says Scylla above it, but really just Ska, because most of the letters don't light up anymore. And it is the same broke down, shitty hole-in-the-wall bar that it was the last time you were here, grimy, and not really a lot of people here because they lost their liquor license and still can't get it renewed. Because, you know, the government might know that there's a Supernat here. The original owner was killed. The landlords don't care so long as someone pays the rent, but getting the liquor license renewed has been a nightmare. And changelings are experts on nightmares. And you'll just, you know, roll up on a regular table, put something obnoxious on the jukebox. Maya, at this point, probably knows what non-alcoholic shit any of you like to drink except Rosenkrantz, because, well, unfortunately they can't do blood at the bar. They have talked about it, Maya will tell you, but it's like, we just couldn't work it out. We tried.
Understandable. It's not like there's reasonable sources of lachrymar left in the city.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that shit. I've only heard about it, I've never seen it or smelled it before, so you can see what we're working with here.
Yeah. As soon as Dune gets his drink, he, you know, does a thing where he puts his coat over for a little second and fortifies it from his own stock.
And as you were sitting at this little, you know, slightly broken table in the middle of this broke-down bar, Rosencrantz, right in front of you there is suddenly a small parchment scroll with a wax seal on it that was not there before.
Well, that's a thing. I'll examine it before, you know, opening it.
The wax scroll is, again, this is like beyond analog. Stamped on the wax seal is, some kind of insignia. It's a horse's head with a rose in its teeth.
Not explode.
Do I recognize that symbol at all?
Roll into politics.
Sure. In politics +6.
Let me look at your sheet.
Yep. That should be an 11 plus my politics.
Oh, also your politics specialty comes in.
Oh, that's useful. That's important.
You're not, so what'd you get? Did you get more than one success?
Yeah.
Okay.
My politics specialty came in, and I'm 11 before I add in my politics and the specialty.
Okay, so that's 2 successes. Based on what it looks like, you would say that this could be this could be a kindred thing. The rose usually indicates Deva.
Huh.
And definitely
I didn't know about a
Deva, like, you know, personalizing their own bullshit. Like Invictus, Vontrue, you're like, I'm just gonna use the fucking Vontrue symbol, for fuck's sake. Sometimes they stick with something that's more, you know, system-wide, like, in Idun, I think it's like an apple with a crown around it, because that's usually what Tilda would use in insignia, but she wouldn't use a parchment scroll to contact you because we have the internet.
Right.
We're Vontrue, not stupid. So this all, like, 2 successes. This feels like Deva bullshit to you.
My politics is 3, so it's actually 3 successes. But,
okay. Well, it still feels like Deva bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
So this is definitely one of your analog feelers coming back.
Right. Sure, let's take a look at what's inside.
Okay. Yeah, you just unscroll it. There is, at first, nothing weird happens. It says you are cordially invited this evening to the Elysium of Hierophant Mezu, Night Lord of Logoi. All creatures of night and shadow are welcome in court, as long as they uphold the 3 traditions. There is no violence permitted within Elysium. And then it gives an address that seems like it's in Ponos, but like high upwards above you.
Right.
And you get enough time to sort of study. What else do you want to? Give more
so
questions.
do I know enough about the Night and Shadow to know who is included in that?
So yeah, you got 3 successes. That is sometimes that could be a euphemism for all Supernats.
Yep. Okay.
Also, do you offhand remember what the 3 traditions are? Because this is Requiem, not Masquerade. Although, ironically, the first tradition is Masquerade.
Although, ironically, the first tradition is Masquerade, which is a weird tradition in the modern day, but still exists. Remind me what the other 2 traditions are.
The first is Masquerade. Do not reveal yourself to those not of the blood, or we take your blood back. Although, yeah, you're right. Different systems do that in different ways. In Eden's system, it's more like, if someone's doing a personal masquerade, don't fucking out them or we'll punch you. But there are definitely systems, especially in the Expanse, where the masquerade has been readopted with a vengeance.
Right.
This could be one of those places. Second is the tradition of progeny. You make child or they're your problem. And in some cases, that includes you have to ask the prince for permission to make progeny.
Yep.
The third is Amaranth, which is no diablerie or we kill you. And that one's generally the most common, like you've not been in a city yet where that wasn't a rule. Well, you haven't been in a city with a court where that wasn't a rule, because generally all vampires agree diablerie is bad, don't do it.
It leaves a mark on your soul. It leaves it for a reason. It's a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're not using a system where you have to do it if you want to become a more powerful vampire.
Yeah, that's a help, but there is also just, you know, people have terrible reasons to do it, but it still happens, otherwise there wouldn't be a rule. But yeah, blood potency system kind of like, well, we don't have to do that. Or rather, removal of the generation system has made diablerie less tempting. But depending on what bullshit you're spinning, it can still be a thing.
Yep. Well, we're invited to a party.
So yeah.
Are we dressed appropriately for a party?
What's the date on it?
Today. Or tonight. Doesn't actually give a time, it just says this evening. And then as soon as you've more or less memorized the address, it burns to a cinder in your hand. Without hurting you. Actually, it's not even like a flame, it's more like flash powder, where just a... And you're a bit startled, but it doesn't cause you to frenzy or anything. It's just like, oh, this is more Dava bullshit.
Actually, weirdly enough, it doesn't even occur to me that it would cause me to frenzy at this point.
If you were a maquette, it might be a problem, but this is just like, oh, more Dava bullshit. Also, they didn't call themselves Prince, or whoever, they didn't say Prince, they said Hierophant.
They did.
Which suggests, this might be a Circle of the Crone ruler.
Well, we didn't know from the last time that the local prince was a Circle of the Crone.
Mm-hmm. So, it's not unusual.
That was the person who was not leaving and refusing to let their kids leave.
Basically, yeah.
Yep.
So, I say as I, but brush ashes off the top of my drink. I don't suppose we'll be going to that then.
Why not? I mean, up to you.
I was more asking if we were or not.
It says that it's open to all all members, all made of shadow and whatever you want to call it. That's just a highfalutin way to say Supernats, who will obey the three kindred. Are you planning on drinking vampire blood? Sorry, you're planning on murdering a kindred and drinking their blood. Alternatively, are you planning on saying, hi, I'm totes a Supernat, come get me? Also, these other people are too. By the way, don't do that.
I mean, I wasn't planning on it, but we'll see how the night goes.
I certainly have no plans in that matter, but...
Anyway, if I'm trying to keep that, I might as well... I've been working on this anyway. So Rosencrantz spends a bare moment concentrating, and their skin looks noticeably more lifelike. Actually, I think I will have a drink. I've been working on trying this out anyway.
Yay, coils!
I offer Rosencrantz my glass, which has in fact been fortified with moonshine.
Perhaps only a little bit.
Just a smidgen of the glowy blue stuff.
Silver.
Oh, glowy silver stuff. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Blue is something else.
Because it's moonshine, not whatever changeling bullshit.
Mm.
Yes, to people on stream, Petruchio has picked up several coils of the Ascendant, which means that they can maintain Blush of Life, which allows them to be functionally human in all the good ways for 24 hours on a single blood point.
Because you can be a member of one covenant and, what is it, covenant goodwill, and learn another covenant's good shit.
As long as you don't become more loyal to the new one, the old one, that's bad.
Yeah.
About your new, we'll call it sparkliness. Is it going to offend the slightly tilted ruler of this particular occupational zone by you sparkling?
I mean, he makes a fair point. If
As far as we know, this person is not necessarily using all of their faculties to their advantage.
if the person is expecting a vampire and a human-looking person shows up, would they be put out, as it were, by the difference?
I'm just trying to save you from getting tossed out of a window off a multi-mile high building.
Patricia smiles and fangs show. I don't think it's a problem. Anyway, we can all do that. It's just a question for how long you can maintain it.
That's a fair point.
Best of luck with that then.
We shall see how it plays out, I suppose. What time should we be there?
Oh, what time did the invitation say, or did it not actually?
Evening?
It just said this evening before, exploded.
Well,
in a fancy exploded. It just said this evening, and based on your knowledge of vampire politic bullshit, they're probably expecting you to. It's already evening. They're probably expecting you to come immediately, or at least sometime tonight.
now is fine. We may want to get changed first, unless nobody wants to.
Did the Mission Impossible theme play when the thing started to...
Dun, dun, dun.
This invitation will self-destruct.
I don't know that I have anything particularly different than what I'm wearing now. And as has been proven, Johnny Rando can't do clothing.
Yeah. And...
I don't know that you have anything to change into that would be particularly different than what we have. I didn't particularly pack for anything beyond a simple, well, for dealing with werewolves perhaps, and for day-to-day wear.
I mean, being invited to a somewhat creepy vampire party was not on my list of things to plan a wardrobe for. So...
Mine either. That's why I'm saying I don't know that there's anything to change into, even if we did go back to the ship to change, unless you particularly wanted me to be armed at this particular meeting.
I think it's probably better not.
I'll follow you, boss.
This is a invocation of the supernatural bullshit rule. This is your type of supernatural bullshit. You're leading.
I did notice.
Idun's in charge. When it's changeling bullshit, Sungrazer's in charge. When it's houseplant business, Klaus is in charge. That's how this works.
And when the lawyers come in, you're up first.
When the supernatural warriors show up, I got your back, Jack.
Yep. Well, it's not like its first estate. The
Oh, I get to plug
drones have weird aesthetics, but none of us are going to follow them, and that's all right.
Okay. My further question: what is the first estate?
My group of vampires.
So there are groups of vampires. Excellent. This is good to know.
I mean, I figured there were certain different kinds of packs of vampires. I don't exactly know how they sort themselves out, but I assumed that they were, there's not one uniform type of vampire, given that I've met the mayor, and the mayor is nothing like Rosenkrantz here.
I'll be texting Sungration with updates on vampire stuff.
Beyond that, I don't know what to tell you.
Holiday, make me a int politics roll.
In politics, I'm
Yours is kind of ridiculous, so
that.
might as well.
Ooh, I rolled 5. My intelligence is 2. My politics. I rolled a total of 12.
Okay, so that's 2 successes. So yeah, you basically, you have a 5 dots in politics. Given that you've been located in Eden for long enough, like, vampires are you know vampires to be very political creatures. Like, that's how they exert their control over others. You have noticed that there are different kinds. Maybe it's like changeling courts or kiths, you're not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, aside from meeting Rosenkrantz and working for them, most of your experience with vampires, even if it's just like tangential rumor and information, what's caught your attention is that they tend to be very political.
Notes taken.
But yeah, you haven't had any first-hand contact with any that you were aware of.
Yeah.
But it's not like, it's not like changelings where you can just see another changeling. It's, oh, that's changeling. Vampires for you would be more subtle to detect. But
5 different groups of vampires. There are vampires who like doing magic, vampires who like doing religion, vampires who think
Rosenkrantz.
they should be in charge.
Talking to the side of your mic.
Sorry.
Eat
There
the
are
mic.
there are vampires who like doing magic, vampires who like doing religion, vampires who think they should be in charge. That's my type. Vampires who want to fix vampirism and hack it. I've been working with them, but they're not really my type. And finally, the commies.
Question. So you say vampires think they should be in charge. Does that mean they should not be in charge?
Not necessarily. We're very good at it. We're the reasons that vampires used to mostly not be known by humans at all, at least before everything came out.
Used to.
Before the masquerade broke.
So, shall we go dressed to this fancy vampire party dressed as hobos?
Well, we're not going dressed as witches, so that's their job.
I mean, we could.
No, that's probably.
I don't know that we can get any different clothing unless you particularly wanted to go to a store and get some more.
We had wardrobe allowances for everyone. I don't know what you used. I do actually know exactly what you used for yours.
There's a wardrobe allowance.
Worth noting, Dune doesn't quite look like a hobo. Hobos don't have quite as nice a jacket, but his does go down to his ankles.
No, I look like I live here. My clothing is what I happened to roll off of a drunk the day before.
Can't hear your home, Fadior.
Which one can't you hear, Fadior?
Host.
Homestead.
He typed that right after Josh started eating his mic again, so it might have been that.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
I can actually turn it up. I turned it down slightly because Jin was getting feedback.
Yeah, couldn't hear Josh before. Yeah, so I think is it better now?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn up my mic just so I can be a little less disciplined, but sure.
Okay.
Like I said, these are your people. I don't necessarily embarrass you in front of your people intentionally.
Yes, but you dress like a lawyer. You should be fine. Or a military commander. Sure, whatever.
He's dressed like a bum currently.
Oh, is he dressed like a bum?
Yes. Like, I'm just like a lawyer. I don't necessarily think I qualify as a good lawyer.
You're a lawyer and you're wearing clothes. Therefore, you're dressed like a lawyer.
Agreed.
Everybody wins.
All right, so do we go back to Super Change or not? Because like Dune hasn't got any of their outfits, but
Sure. So I think we're ready to party.
Go to the party and not get shot.
maybe.
Don't bite anyone without invitation. Actually, just don't bite anybody.
Don't have bitey feet. Of the many
If I
things,
like somebody, it won't be by choice.
not one of them.
Okay. So you there it does based on the address you've been given, you could stop by the ship on your way to the upper levels of the megacity. But if you're not doing that, that's also fine.
Ooh.
I will stop in briefly and change cufflinks and put on a nicer jacket, but sure.
That's fair. Hashtag Von True Life.
Ooh. We're gonna get a look at one of those magic detectors. We're heading into the upper portion of the city.
You are going up higher, but you're still in Ponos.
Okay.
So you're not really. It might be an issue, or you're going to a vampire party.
It'll be great.
So why would they have Supernat detector? Yeah, maybe. Oh.
Again, not operating with full faculties.
So yeah, you make a pit stop, and then you keep, heading up the various levels and elevators and escalators, stairs, all sorts of weird conveyances upwards. And it's nighttime now. So instead of getting sunlight the further up you go, you do get the eerie glint of moonlight, which is kind of an odd effect. You go from this really cruddy, crumbly, dusty, covered over in just black, acrid ash kind of area, and then it becomes sort of smoother and shinier and better kept, but reflecting this just ghostly moonlight. You cannot see stars because Mega City. And eventually the moonlight kind of gives way after a time with just all of the neon lights. Well, actually, no. The further up you go, you get a sense of the neon, especially as you're going up vertically. You get a sense that there are not as many neon lights in this area as in other areas of the upper layer. Like, it seems like maybe it's intentional, maybe it's a more subtle degradation of the infrastructure. But you definitely get a sense of, over there is, Manhattan. Here we seem to be in Queens, but Queens with skyscrapers. It is a bit weird. So it's still somehow, even now you're among the tops, all these other fancy rich people up here have all of the lights and all of the stuff, and here it's just sort of still shadowy and dark. And eerie.
Before we get to our destination, Dune is going to pause for a moment in a patch of moonlight and just, enjoy it for a couple minutes.
It is oddly comforting that this planet has a moon. Did I name the moon? I don't remember. Name the moon. Name Lagoy's moon. Okay. Note to self. That this shit actually matters in the space game. Okay. Alright, so... Yeah,
They didn't just name it Celine?
Celine. Maybe. We'll see. I'll see what I come up with. Space Argonauts. Woohoo! So yes, you come up to, name the moom. Moon? What's a moom?
A moomin, no.
A moomin. Anyway.
Yes, but in what language, Fadior?
So you come to a level of, you're getting further up to the top where, what are your names? Oh, well, Dune and Rando, you're feeling a little lightheaded. You might be getting towards the areas where it's like, okay, I really hope there's, climate control and mild life support in these buildings, because, ouch. And at that point, you do get to, you're not quite at the very top, but you're at the base of another building that goes up at least another 20 stories from here. And there's this very kind of fancy landing, very ornate. But also sort of ornate in a generalized way. You don't see any clear insignias or, you know, the werewolf equivalent of, you know, nothing like werewolf runes or changeling runes. But it is the address. So it's just kind of a generally ornate, but otherwise it's just a pair of glass double doors, and once you walk in, Trukia, you're fine anyway, but the other two, it's like, oh, air! Thank goodness. Breathing is nice.
Does it smell like vampire in here?
It does. It's somewhat lighter than you would have thought. Like, it doesn't smell like there's a lot of death here, but you definitely smell death.
Right.
And there is, So, Petruchio, we're going with the rules we developed in Requiem as a LARP, where if you know you're gonna meet vampires in a place, your beast does not cause you to frenzy on sight, because it's fucking annoying.
That said, even though I'm running Blush of Life, we all have beasts.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not like anyone can't tell I'm a vampire.
So,
Dune has no idea.
Dune and Rando, you see a kind of, it's a bit odd because this building strikes you as a residence, so you kind of come into a lobby and there's like a kind of a guard kind of alcove desk thing, but it also looks kind of like a coat check. And behind the desk is a young man, and standing on the other side of the desk is what looks to you like a young woman. Petruchio, you immediately, the guy behind the desk is human, or is rather not kindred, and the woman is kindred.
Right.
Because your beasts just both kind of go, rawr. And the woman approaches you three. Hello, I am the Mistress of Elysium. I would like you to know that we do not allow violence on Elysium. If you would like to check your weapons, you may, but that is not enforced. Just do not use them unless the Elysium is attacked. Otherwise,
thank you.
You may also, you may check weapons or outerwear at the desk. And the pale but alive-looking young man just sort of nods to you. There is no tip jar. Pretty obvious to you, Rosencrantz. Oh, actually, Dune, you've smelled it. That kid smells death adjacent. So, not a vampire, but vampire-related.
Probably the same way that I'm werewolf-related.
Yes, yes and no. No Dampier in this game. I don't think. I could look that up. Anyway. No, right, because there's no Thin Bloods, there's no Generation, so there can't be Dampier.
Right, no, I'm just saying that he is the vampire equivalent of, you know, the half step between.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, if you would like to follow me, Hierophant Mezu is expecting you in his throne room.
Thank you.
And she is wearing, what is she wearing? She is wearing just sort of a simple, kind of a simple white gown. Almost kind of a Victorian kind of style of like gauzy white gown. Kind of a little on the casual side, but the way she wears it, it seems very stately and elegant and gauzy and a little ethereal. She is very pale, with long red hair. And yep, she just starts, if you follow, she starts leading you through the corridors.
Yep. I'll tip my hat to the kid, but I'm not taking anything off.
The kid nods back. Shirikyo, you would know that this woman could definitely clock the other two as non-vampires, and she does not seem bothered by it.
Yep.
So if you had any concern, well, if Shirikyo had any concern, it's like, nah, they're, you know.
Well, I'm not sure that she gives if we dress like hobos, which I'm not. I don't know about Rando.
I'm absolutely dressed like a hobo.
She does not even blink at it.
Nope.
As she leads you through, it, so it started looking kind of like a residence building, and you suspect with the elevators there might be kind of, there are definitely other floors in this building. She's leading you through the first few floors, which feels like, I guess the cyberpunk equivalent of a mansion, which almost feels like kind of the, because this is the context I have to work with, like an events kind of space with big ballrooms, or like, you know, a hotel like sort of like a hotel where these are the con floors. And so there's rooms of various size, but they're all very elegant and decadent. You see more horse iconography everywhere, everywhere. Not the exact style of the thing on the wax seal, but like this, whoever is decorated here has been collecting horse-themed art and sculpture and tapestries from all over the cosmos, and antiques and modern art and all the things. And it's sort of, it sort of works together somehow, even though all of these different eras and styles clash. So you notice, you know, you look into rooms as you walk past them, and there are different design styles, but all are very rich and overdone.
I'm mentally, as Dune goes along, he's mentally cataloging pieces of art as people who've actually ridden horses made this, and people who have not actually ridden horses made this.
But I hope there is not like art of like pieces of tack or something.
Nothing that pedestrian. It's like, you know, mostly when it's
in the special closet.
Yeah, and when it's a special horse, it's like rearing up and all majestic.
So going out of character for a moment, just because this is a fun story. So the year before Balticon moved to central Baltimore, the hotel had rethemed in horse themes. And that's meant every single thing there was horses, because they were trying to attract local equestrians from a local riding stable or something. I think a track. And this included, like, you'd go into the bathroom, and above the bathroom was a painting of a bit above the toilet. I don't even know.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like in that sense. Everything is very much about the horses and them being majestic. Sometimes there's riders on them, and there are, like I said, there are paintings, there are tapestries, there are sculptures, all eras. Somebody likes horses.
So is this horse thing whatever you are thing, or is this a special kind of special?
Oh, this is a special kind of special. They have picked a theme.
Okay. I don't know.
Presumably there is a reason.
I'm told someone.
But
It's actually quite tasteful. Hardly surprising. Yeah, what were you saying?
But you're cute, you know, sometimes a kindred, you know, like this guy clearly has a horse on their insignia, and they like a theme.
Yeah.
There are some rooms that you feel like you're in a medieval throne room, and some where you feel like you're in a Victorian parlor. You pass by one room that might look like it's meant for, like, watching a horse race on a big screen, and it's just like...
This reminds me of a particularly good, well, it didn't... There were a lot of farms in Wolf Country, and while there were no horse stables near where the wolves were, of course, we did keep horses for when the particularly cantankerous plow tractors would go out of commission yet again. They always took forever to fix them, so sometimes you just had to do the plowing with a horse. The oxen were preserved for other purposes, but
yeah,
we find stable of plow horses, although I know some who did keep race horses. They were not as popular because they could not pull quite as much as the plow horses could.
Dune, as you're looking at the art, the theme you notice is that the more a piece is about the horse, the more the artist has captured what they're actually like. Whenever it's like, well, it's actually about the guy on the horse, that's when it starts to get a bit more like, nah, that's not how that works, but this is about,
this person has never been on a horse, this artist's never been on a horse.
But, you see one that's basically just a bunch of cubes, vaguely in the shape of a horse, and yet it captures the spirit of the creature better than some of the, like, photo representation.
A particularly nervous specimen.
Yeah, so it's like, Dune isn't much into art, but this is interesting. One thing you all notice, very strikingly, is that all of these rooms are empty.
So I'm not saying this is weird, but this is a little bit different.
Like,
so we've not...
Dune, you can vaguely smell, like, a ghost of what used to be here, but it's... So there's definitely been kindred here. They're not here now, and they haven't been here in a while, and that's a little weird. Once in a while, you see what Petruchio can recognize as a ghoul, probably scurrying here and there, but like they're very good at staying out of sight. Dune probably only notices them because Dune is part werewolf and has senses. But they're
This Elysium was clearly in much bigger use before the Exodus. It sounds like
it feels like a ghost town of an Elysium. Like all the except that everything's still here, except the vampires, which is not how that like Elysium. I mean, it depends on the city, especially when Elysium isn't a rack, because sometimes they're both or have two level. Rack is vampire feeding grounds. But it's like, this place was meant to be populated. Everyone is gone.
Denopsia. The eerie, forlorn atmosphere of a place that's usually bustling with people but is now abandoned and quiet.
Yes, it's echoingly quiet. Like, the corridors you're walking down, most of the rooms are carpeted or have rugs or wood floors. You are walking down, it might be wood, it might be some imitation. It's very well done if it's an imitation of hardwood floors. But your steps just echo.
Is there an appropriate address, while I'm thinking about it, for a Hierophant?
Most vampires, or most rulers respond well to Majesty or Grace, Lord. It's not as strict as it is nowadays, or in our real world. As long as they can tell you mean it with respect. Like, there are some cities, like especially Carthian Run, where it's like, it is appropriate to address the prince as, "Hey, boss!" Or they are just the boss of the city, where it's a bit more mafia style. But generally, they will, but then again, royalty, especially when it's kindred involved, can take offense at whatever they like.
Oh, yes.
So, but generally, like, my lord, my liege, your majesty, your grace, those tend to
I mean, it wouldn't be my lord or my liege, because they're not my lord or my liege, but your majesty, yes.
You heard of a system once where the prince was called the Pharaoh? That was an interesting story. So yes, she eventually leads you into a very grand ballroom, where there's definitely like a stage set up. It looks like this could be set up as a theater, but currently all the seats have been taken out. It is very richly carpeted, like you know, floor-to-floor carpeting, but like really, really nice, and with patterns and very thick and sound absorbent. This place has definitely been designed for music and theater. The stage is sort of curtained off, and there's basically just a big empty room with a throne in the middle of it, upon which you suppose is Hierophant Mezu, who is wearing, what is it? You know, he's wearing kind of just black leather pants and a peasant shirt. He's doing very Byron look today. He's got short, kind of blonde hair. His eyes are almond shaped, but they're blue. And you know, the heads on the upper part of the throne are both horse heads, and there's this kind of, yeah, this kind of very scrolled, stylized horse motif all over the throne, and just, you know, tapestries everywhere. You're not sure if these tapestries, actually the tapestries might help for or they might come down for like an actual music concert. All of this so far just screams Deva. And there is, so there is the Hierophant, and he is flanked by, how many? There are like 4 other kindred in the room, Petruchia, as you can see, and they all look up, and all of your beasts just go, wow.
Yep.
Dune, this is the strongest you've smelled of death here, and it's just like these 5 people. You don't see any, Petruchia, you see no ghouls in this room. You see doors where they might come out of.
I will bow deeply and say, Your Grace, thank you for granting me an audience.
And the lady who led you in kind of motions to Dune and Rando that you should, like, also bow.
I bow, but I fuck it up because I'm used to werewolf stuff, and this is not.
Oh, sure, I'll bow.
Like, you know, the exact correct bow of, like, I just like, okay, yep, I saw this on TV once.
So as you're all bowing, the Hierophant, Mezu, kind of just gets up out of his throne indignantly. He's like, Bibi, don't tell them to bow. These are our honored guests. When will you learn the time and place for court etiquette? And this woman just sort of like kind of looks down and is very kind of nervous and cowed and just, I'm sorry, Your Grace. Please forgive me. And he's like, of course, darling. I just want you to be your best, so constructive criticism is necessary. And she just sort of quietly bows, and you can't, like, Dune, you can barely hear her footsteps as she walks kind of back towards the edge of the wall with her head down, just stark still in that creepy vampire way, where they're not even breathing or blinking. And that's it. There's a man and a woman on either side of his throne who are just sort of like kind of have that smiles like they would be giggling, but you know, they are not giggling, but they would be giggling if the prince was not right next to them.
Yep. I completely failed to react to this.
But I do appreciate the respect in my own domain. Surely we have had troubles lately. I am the Hierophant Mezu, and you're all welcome here, as long as you follow the traditions. Which, Well, if you have not learned them, I don't think we have to worry about you making progeny that are kindred, because, well, you're not. Nobody's perfect. But, we do enforce the masquerade here, and that is simply, do not let the mortals know what we are.
As you see, I've taken rather great pains not to make sure they didn't.
Yes, masterfully done, masterfully done. Mix Rosenkrantz, I believe? Or what name did you give a name? Or did you just say you were Carve?
I think I gave a name on the original request for an audience those many weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think I gave a lineage. I'm trying to remember what I gave for a name.
Oh wait, I wrote.
Did you write this down?
Prince's. What I wrote down was Prince's Childer, Rosenkrantz, Childer of the line of Tilda, Prince of Eden system.
There we go.
Mix Rosenkrantz, you are most welcome. We have heard, of course, of your progenitor. We have great respect for her in this system. We have invited her several times to visit, but we know how it is.
Indeed.
One does not want to be shown up in a city visit.
She is rarely even seen Idun. Royalty, after all, must be allowed their preferences. Especially an ancestor of mine.
I believe in being more egalitarian, even before the current crisis. I mean, a shepherd must know their flock.
As you say.
Dune, at the word, like, flock, you know, your brain kind of goes to, like, wearable stuff. And you notice, the fifth guy in the room is just this big hulking dude with a big leather trench coat who just, how he's standing, you know, what you see, the way his coat is structured, that's probably the fist. Like,
professional to professional.
That's,
like,
yeah.
I clocked him when I walked in, and, like, you know, you're
Yeah.
You know, if I have to start dealing with people, you're the one I have to deal with first.
The heavies clock each other, and he's clearly clocking you, and he's like, you know, he doesn't nod, he doesn't blink, because, well, vampire. But, yeah, game recognizes game. This is the heavy.
Yeah. Like, your beast recognizes beast, well, game recognizes game.
Okay, my timer for break just went off. So, do we want to do our 10-minute break?
Sure.
Okay, chat. Right now is when we do our 10-minute break. We will be right back in 10 minutes for more Exit to Eden and more, I guess this is a vampire party. With almost no vampires. Very small number of vampires. Who can tell why? Alright, so we'll see you in 10.
That's the Rosenkrantz. Are actual vampire parties more interesting than this? This seems boring. AF.
Their answer when we return. Woohoo! And... Hello, chat. We are back for the second half-ish of Exit to Eden. Time is an illusion.
Lunchtime doubly so.
Indeed. Where our protagonists are trying to help Lagoy's system, where the local Supernats, as this is World of Darkness in space, Supernats are out and being persecuted by the cosmic government. They have just made contact with the equivalent of the vampire prince of the city, although he calls himself a Hierophant, and have just gone to an enormous, sumptuous Elysium with almost no vampires in it. So that's interesting. Oh, thank you, mods. I don't know what happened. I don't need to know. Thank you. I am bad at modding. I am grateful for my mods, because I still don't know how those things work.
Wanna buy followers? Click this incredibly sus link.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know how that happens. I'm just bad at actual... Wait, how do I delete it, though? I banned it in first, so now I can't see... Ah! Like, I'm good at running games and sewing. Not so much modding. Anywho. So, yes. And, upon meeting, Hierophant Mezu, he rather stripped down as Keeper of Elysium for insisting you bow and then deciding you didn't. And that was interesting.
That was very interesting, yes.
So, just getting back to action. So I take it you're here to save Lagoy.
We are here to help out as we can.
Excellent! I am more than happy to work with other communities. It's just that I lack an ambassadorial figure that I can really rely on. And for whatever reason, my Elysium is open to any of those communities, and they don't seem to want to visit. I cannot imagine why. I know the parties are not quite as exciting as they were before this exodus, but...
Well... Apparently, the mortals don't want you here anymore, and it's getting rather hot. We can help people move away who wish to. We do not want lines to be lost.
Indeed.
It would be incredibly regrettable.
But I mean, do the mortals really know what they want?
It's not a matter of what the mortals know, what the mortals know what they want in the first place. It's a matter of what they're convinced to believe. But unless you have some way of getting at the puppet masters, well.
Well, I mean, I didn't become Prince of the City by not being a political mastermind. It just takes time and patience. I mean, though ultimately I did not even want to be Prince of the City. It's just that a time came on Lagoy, when I was the only one with the strength and acumen to do so at the time. One cannot refuse the needs of their own people, and our people needed a ruler, so I took up the scepter. Thus, my court is a bit more egalitarian than others, and a bit more giving and nurturing. So, if you're willing to help me work with the other residents remaining on this planet, and perhaps convince some of the Dysnomians to return, I can offer you almost unlimited resources to work with.
Well, I do think that stopping turning the tide, as it were, is a worthy and worthwhile goal. That said, it is also important that those who wish to leave and do not wish to engage in a brave and hopefully not futile fight have what resources they have. That said, as I'm sure you've realized, Dysnomia is not safe.
Oh, no.
No more than here.
Dysnomia is a shithole. But, well, that's the trick, isn't it? Is don't fight. The masquerade has been well used as a traditional, global conspiracy on many planets and many systems throughout history. Why can it not be so again? It's just convincing those who think they have to leave that they can just use their powers and abilities and influences more carefully, with perhaps proper guidance.
It is an excellent idea, but do not the humans now have greater facility for piercing the masquerade. Unless we can also step up our game.
Well, indeed, but I don't say global conspiracy lightly. I mean, they're just kind. They can be controlled. It just takes a little extra work. And I think those who fled to Dysnomia just gave up too easily.
Truly. It would be good to have a better presence here. Certainly, it's not safe. As events have shown, it's not safe if the masquerade is broken for any of us.
Indeed. I think, I do not know whether other supernatural ilks have their own versions of the masquerade, but I think all would benefit from it in this system. And I would be more than happy to accept all kinds of people at my court so long as we are all working for the same goal and all helping each other.
What is that goal?
Well, the goal is to take back our planet. And rule from the shadows is our place to do so. And not just the kindred.
And I had heard you were from the void, from the Acolytes of the Void.
Oh, I am, but, have you ever heard the tales of the goddess Inanna? She brought everything to to her people as of music and art and beauty, but also law and wisdom. And guidance, and that's what I do. Plus the protection of a warrior spirit and a sense of justice, which is what I have brought to the kindred of this planet. And I can do for more, as long as we all agree to work together.
Oh.
I mean, being of Prince Tilda's line, I do not know if you are of the First Estate, but you know the power of oaths and promises. That is not exactly my power, but...
I do indeed.
Such promises do not have to be made by kindred alone. It's very unfortunate, it's just... I'm more than happy to work with changelings, werewolves, wizards. All are welcome here. Unfortunately, there are those kindred of this, well, formerly of this planet, I have no doubt they've fled to Dysnomia, who rather decided to hate the player, not the game, and thus, I believe my reputation's been somewhat sullied among the other peoples. And I just want to help.
Do tell. If you don't mind the disrespect, it is certainly not mine.
It is a difficult subject.
The rumor had been that you would not allow your children to leave, even if they wished to.
Well, I would, if they had a good reason to leave, I would respect their wishes, but they know that we are stronger together as a family, correct? And the two right next to him nod somewhat more enthusiastically. The big guy in the trench coat just sort of smirks, and the Keeper of Elysium just sort of nods quietly from her corner.
And yet, you are, of course, correct. But it is not simply a family that is closer together. Is it not true that that all of us, sweep my hand around, indicating everyone in the room, but possibly people outside as well, are stronger when we hold together?
Oh, indeed.
Perhaps if there is one among your children who wish to leave, they could serve as ambassador, and thereby make sure that you have resources and are not isolated. brave and noble struggle.
No, my child, or those who remain with me, know their place and know that their value is greater here on Lagoi, where we can hold on to our influences and hopefully build them to be strong again. It's unfortunate that my name has been sullied to other Supernats and even other kindred to cover the dishonorable actions of others that led to me taking the throne of Lagoi. But I'm sorry, I have trouble discussing that.
I would not wish you to just cause you discomfort.
Thank you. You are so sweet and so kind to offer your services to my people. And the people who I think should be or would be my people if they just understood the situation better. They could see things more the way I do. But like I said, our resources are yours. We have contacts, media, police, black market. I mean, for all the police seem to be against us now, it doesn't mean they can't still be controlled.
True. It seems to me that one of the tools of the enemy is that they have been making people disappear who disagree with them.
Yes, there are a few kindred who we have not been able to locate on Dysnomia or any other system. They just seem to be gone. Ghouls as well.
Yes. It is possible that the answer is, well, the final one. But it's also possible they have found somewhere to put them.
Ah. And you think that they would be doing that here on planet?
Well,
or on another system?
If they were doing it on another system, there would have to be routes, places of transport. There would have to be a pipeline. There would be some record, or there would be some source of it on planet. On planet is easier to hide, weirdly.
I know such things to be true in an ironic sort of way. Keeping what is most valuable right under one's nose, which, I mean, that's the masquerade in a nutshell.
Indeed.
Though I doubt the kind have figured out a way to truly pull one over on our people. So it's really just a matter of us finding them.
It's true, as long as we can work together.
Indeed. Well, I am more than happy to work with others. I am open-minded. I want to support other people's both their abilities and their desire to grow. I mean, true, we are largely acolytes of the void here now, but many of us see our society as a garden. It can be grown, it can be nurtured, it can be
transplanted?
I'm sorry, transplanted. Well, not so much. Then
I don't know much about vampires, so what about you? You seem to be the prince of the...
Kindred, sir. Kindred, please.
My apologies. I don't know much about Kindred, and you seem to be the prince of the city. I would like to note that there is more than one city on Eden. There's only one mega city, but there are other places. And while I don't know much about Kindred, and I don't know much about your politics, I do know that on Eden, you can keep stables of horses, because there is open country once again. And I see that you are a great aficionado of horses. I know places to get the finest horses on Eden.
Well, that is very kind of you, but I also have my own stables here. They're just indoors. It's an interesting system.
I'm sure.
The elite have access to rather wonderful indoor parks, racetracks, etc.
But you don't wish to see a horse racing across the green field under an open sky? That seems to be a shame.
I mean, we're acolytes of the void. What is the sky but just another void? I mean, one to be respected and draw inspiration from, but I don't need it every day.
Fair, but I've found that horses flourish more under an open sky than they do kept inside and held.
Do remember, Derek, that as kindred, we've grown used to not having the lights in the sky.
True.
Even if it no longer hurts most of us in most systems, it is still rather, indoors. We very much like to be indoors.
I was not saying that for you. I was simply saying that for your horses, which, if you'll forgive me for making the assumption, I assume you valued very highly.
Well, I appreciate the iconography, and I do have my own horses and stables on planet.
True.
Not to
It
mention
would
your
be.
sources
It
of
would
power.
usually be very difficult to transport them. Usually. That could not be the case here if you so chose, but that's up to you.
You mean leave? I'm not leaving my homeland.
Didn't you just say you came from the void?
Well, we all came from the void. That is the Big Bang. From the void came creation. And then came all of us and all of reality in its many splendored form.
Fair, but wouldn't that make another planet the same as this planet when it comes to homes?
Oh no.
Because we all came from the same place, and so too did the planets come from the same place. Therefore, one could make the equivalence that another planet is the same as the first planet because they came from the same place.
Well, did that mean that you and I are the same person?
I don't know about that. I'm not one of the philosophers.
The planets, all of creation came from one place, from one act of creation. But as we grow and develop, we become different. We become idiosyncratic. We become individuals. And that includes planets and includes systems. The spirit of the place is very different from planet to planet.
And would you say the spirit of this planet is hospitable for anyone at this point in time?
Oh, it's absolutely hospitable. There are billions of kind here. A kindred society would absolutely flourish. We just have to relearn the traditional masquerade. And then we can rule as we used to. We can rule as I dare say kindred still rule in the core.
I don't know about the masquerade, but I don't know if it'll... Did the masquerade used to work on technology?
Oh yes, as long as one had influence over technology, or influence over kind to administer technology.
That said, the masquerade did work on ignorance.
Yes, I believe it would have been easier for the kind to continue to not know any of us existed.
Exactly.
But sadly, that ship has sailed, and sailed well over 2,000 years ago.
Would it be easier to make them assume that you had all left?
I mean, if you want to spin that, we could definitely do that. I would be amenable to
saying
medieval.
that if a number of you were to go off planet and then claim that there was no one left here, that they would assume that there was no one left here, and those who were left here would be able to continue in the ignorance to which they needed to support the, I believe you called the masquerade.
Oh, I do like that idea, and it's already half done since so many fled to Dysnomia. I would be
plan, but viable, yes.
I would be more than happy to use my people to start a media blitz on that fact, as there are no more supernaturals here. We are free and clear.
Well, one would have to provide proof, let's say, that supernaturals had left. So perhaps
you'd need a romantic last holdout that eventually was forced to flee or otherwise dealt with.
So, if you would not object to using the last few, or one of the last few, under your purview for that particular purpose, we would take them with us when we left, and you would be able to spin the ignorance of the rest of the system into the masquerade for which you so desperately need.
It's an interesting idea.
Well, I don't know that I can spare any of my current court until some of the previous court returns. We are spread rather thin right now. I can't deny that, but we are growing stronger again. As those who fled in cowardice left a lot of irons in the fire. It's just our businesses of figuring out where they are and picking them back up again.
Picking up the resources left behind, of course.
Fair. If we were to get you those resources, would you be able to spare one of yours for the one or two, perhaps, of yours for the last desperate flight, quote unquote, as it were, out of Lagoi system?
Well, this is a rather long-term goal, but we could do something about that. Although, are you sure you want to be centered by the media blitz?
We don't plan on staying for that long.
Nor do we plan on being back personally. And I don't think I need to tell you that perhaps we do not have perhaps the same names other places.
Oh, I would never presume to pry about someone's true name.
Fair.
That's
so,
just rude.
As long as we did not particularly mind these identities being no longer viable.
The problem is, of course, we don't want anyone to face destruction, but also it is much easier to believe a disappearance that involves destruction than the one that simply involves fugitives.
I would, before we go talking about that, I believe it would be wiser to speak to the wolf pack underneath the town, because if any destruction was happening, it would likely fall on them as well, and that's part of the plan. I do not particularly want to be blowing up parts of the city without warning people down below first.
Oh, we wouldn't be blowing up anything in the first place, but that's not the point. But yes, it seems to me that just as you have reasons of philosophy, honor, and power to stay, even when things seem difficult, others have their own reasons to want to stay. And it would be best to coordinate where possible.
Well, we all grow through pain, and pain, suffering, and challenge. Whether
unless
that
we're destroyed.
well, there are some philosophies that say that is not even final destruction isn't the end, but let's be practical right now.
Fair. So, with that in mind, do we have your tentative agreement that if we get you the resources that the others left behind, you would furnish us with one, perhaps two of your remaining court to begin this deception?
Well, only if you could also start to work on those who fled to Dysnomia to bring them back.
Well, as we said, simply staying openly in Dysnomia is not safe.
No.
Indeed.
They must either move on and continue their journey, or must return and attempt to continue a struggle. Attempting to form their own place and expect to hold it against the Horde, they might as well stem the tide.
No, Dysnomia will not be safe, not for very long. And if we don't convince them either to come back or to go forward, then you'll never see them again for reasons not related to us. Dysnomia is a shithole, and we have reason to believe that the Government of Lagoy would not mourn to see it razed to the ground and left radioactive for the next 5 centuries.
Hmm. Well, I mean, the megacorps wouldn't be happy about that. There are 2 warring megacorps, if you haven't heard about them yet, but...
Oh, we have.
But there are other ways to take out a population that doesn't harm the infrastructure.
A point.
How charming.
I don't know what it's like here, but I have heard rumors that there are mega corporations who are trying to get a hold of such persons as you or I to experiment and otherwise vivisect and gain the powers thereof of all the people. I don't know if they might be responsible for those who have vanished but not been found.
Possibly. That, my understanding, is more a matter of, oh, which megacorp? It's not Armor Paragon, it's one of those other ones.
Fair. It is. The rumors I heard were in relation to, I believe, Chiron Corp.
Oh, Chiron, yes.
But if one of them is doing it, then the others will get in on it, just so they're not left in the dust when there is profit to be made out of such secrets as may be found.
My people haven't been able to find the megacorps really leaning one way or another when it comes to Supernats.
I'm not saying they're against it. I'm simply saying that if they thought they could make a profit by vivisecting a person and trying to replicate what they found inside, they would do so without blinking very much, because one life, whether it be human or kindred or otherwise, is not very much in the scale of their entire operations.
Possibly, but that seems more Chiron. And these megacorps don't work together, and Chiron has its own, I'm sure, patented processes of torturing the people of the Knights.
The supernatural detectors had to come from somewhere.
Yes, and we haven't really been bold enough to test the supernatural detectors in town. We don't really want to... I don't really want to sacrifice what people I have left to test technology when there might be other ways of doing so.
Fair. But dealing with them is going to become a part of life, part of the masquerade of staying here if you do.
Yes, but
just a fair warning.
But I believe Paragon and produce their own. They're just not as good as Chiron's.
Yes. I believe the methods, your methods, the methods of the Order of the Void, are most likely to trigger the detectors.
Yes, my understanding is that some are just triggered by active sorcery. A quiet, not unassuming kindred could possibly walk past and not have a problem.
Whether Carpathian law or an oath would trigger it, well, possibly if you're foolish enough to enact them right underneath their gaze.
Correct. That seems... we haven't had a very strong presence of the First Estate here in about 10 years, but that doesn't seem in character for them to do their business right out in the open.
Exactly.
And at this point, another woman walks into the room. She has kind of short, straight black hair. She's wearing kind of a leather jacket and black jeans. And she sort of comes, right past you, right up to the throne and kneels down. Well, Lana, what do you have for me? And she is speaking so quietly you can barely hear her. Just the words you can make up or make out is, I'm sorry, my liege. I have been unable to bring her back. At which point, Mezu gets up off his throne, towers over this woman as the throne is also on a rise, and just starts screaming at her. I ask you to do one thing. All my resources at your disposal. All the contacts of a sheriff of a fucking planet, and you can't do one simple thing. You had one fucking job, and this keeps going on for about 5 minutes. And this woman who, Dune, you can also tell this woman in the leather jacket is a force to be reckoned with, but is just absolutely cowed and was already kneeling, as now looks like she's trying to just sort of sink into the floor. And she's not begging, but she's apologizing when, you know, I mean, vampires don't really need to breathe, but Mezu pauses to take breaths to scream more.
Before, in between a pause, but right before he takes a breath, I'm going to reach into my pocket and nick myself on a knife.
Okay. You do that. No one notices. Or no one seems to notice.
Even though it smells like wet dog and blood?
Oh.
You'd have to, in this large of a space, you'd need more than a pinprick. I mean, it's an interesting experiment to see if anyone notices.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can slice my hand up enough to get his attention.
I mean, do I in fact notice? Whether or not I show noticing? It smell of blood.
Well, you're standing right next to Dune, so roll wits.
Perception check? Or...
Oh yeah, perception check, duh. Which we established is 2 attributes, wits and... Was it wits resolve?
I think so.
Yeah.
Perception is...
Unless you have investigation.
Oh, I believe my wits resolve is stronger.
Okay, do that.
Uh, 14.
You can maybe... You can smell it, like, okay, is a blood happening? But it's not strong enough that you're not sure, like, did Dune do a thing? Like, Dune clearly... It smells like maybe Dune pricked his finger, but didn't, like, stab himself in the hand. So it's just sort of like a slight whiff of it, and it doesn't... Not even enough to tempt your beast.
Okay.
And eventually, after a few rounds of screaming at what you presume to be a sheriff, Mezu just sighs and is like...
If the first one doesn't get a reaction, I will, you know, take a bigger slice. Like...
before you can do that, Mezu kind of just, like, stops for a moment at a dramatic pause and just sighs. All I want for my court and my family is to be strong in the face of these looming struggles. Sheriff Lana, return to your local duties. Later we will discuss how you might better apply yourself to working in a star system. And this woman just sort of... Like, she stands up, but you don't get a sense of her being any higher off the ground as she just shrunk, and she just sort of scurries, like, almost backwards for the most part to the door she came in. And just quietly, again, like, you barely hear the sound of her feet on the floor. And not just because it's carpeted. You barely hear her feet once you know she's out in the corridor, in that big echoey corridor. It's more than a little unnerving. I'm sorry about that. I've had to promote people to new positions rather quickly given the current circumstances, and everyone's having a bit of an adjustment period. But it's, again, it's... We grow from our experiences, and we all just have to learn. Dune, do you still cut your hand open?
Not he stopped yelling. I don't need to distract him, so no. But I will do the very quiet hand out of the pocket and flick it behind me, because I did... It wasn't a stick of the finger, it was a pretty decent slice across the hand, but I have the liar's skin, so it's just a patch of fur.
Oh, whoops.
Well, no, you slice it open, you get you get wolf's blood, but you
Yeah.
also get you see underneath.
Oh, the fur.
It's not muscles. It's
So, the big scary dude in the trench coat kind of, at this point, he actually makes a facial expression. He almost makes a facial expression, but he more just tilts his head looking at you as like, huh, I wonder what that's about, and then goes back to watching the room.
I tilt my head in return, and but it's not to expose my neck or anything. It's just so that you can see the markings better.
Mm-hmm. So, as we were saying, so you want to... So, here's the plan I propose. You bring some of our kindred, convince them of the validity of this idea that Logoi can be safe as long as we're careful in the way of our ancestors, who did so for centuries and were very successful.
I have one Columbo-esque question.
Oh, of course.
Why don't you just make more kindred to replace the ones that left? Because those would be ones that buy into your philosophy. You can train the people you want to take the positions you need, and then you can write off the people who have abandoned you.
Well, we are working on that. And as Hierophant of the city, I do have the ability to give out permission, but we are very selective in this family. We don't want to potentially embrace someone who will cause us more trouble than, give us more trouble than support. And in these trying times, when upholding the masquerade is of utmost importance, we want to make sure we don't just embrace randomly.
But the people who've already left have shown that they're not loyal to you. They're not going to uphold your tradition.
I would be willing to give them another chance.
What if they're not willing to give the masquerade another chance?
Then they won't return.
Then they won't return, I'm afraid, and I will have to just extend my own family throughout this system. So yes, you do bring up a good point. But I don't take, the gift of the goddess lightly. So our numbers will grow more slowly in that way. If we could... I mean, you see what's been going on. I promoted someone to the position of sheriff possibly before they were completely ready for the role, and it is causing problems. And the two people on either side of his chair, again, get that look of they would be giggling, but they are too well controlled in their responses. They just have that darkly amused poker face.
Who is responsible for training a sheriff?
Well, she was one of the hounds of the previous sheriff. Unfortunately, Gustav disappeared, and I have great fear that he was taken in the wave of disappearances rather than the exodus. We've been unable to track him.
Speaking of which, I have an attempt to try to locate where those disappearances could lead to, but I don't have enough data. I don't suppose you'd be willing to supply what data you have.
Oh, I would be more than happy to extend. What is the data you were looking for exactly?
Areas where they could. Is that a GM question or a him question?
That's a him question.
Good. I am looking for data for areas where they could be holding a large number of people, both kin and kind, and without necessarily being obvious about it. As you know, quite a number of areas of power have become vacant, and while you have picked up some, that would be the most obvious place for them to put things, if they could find some place that was itself a power vacuum.
Well, I do know there were group families of Nosferatu living in more the catacomb areas, which I don't know if they're still in the city. I suspect they have exited. Our Sheriff Lana has some of that information. I dare say you could probably use it more effectively than she does. So I'll instruct her on if you can give me a means to contact you, for her to contact you. I'll more than happily facilitate that. Maybe you can teach her a few things. And again, those two wings just get that darkly amused.
And perhaps she can teach me. After all, I do not know the territory.
I mean, it is very valuable to admit to one's faults, I find. You are most gracious in doing so. Yes?
Now, I may just be a simple country bird lawyer, but I have a follow-up question. What exactly is a sheriff in the context of this discussion that we're having?
Oh, well, I suppose,
What is that job? I don't understand. I have no context for it.
Mix Rosencrantz, are these your, allies? Servants? Allies. I don't want to presume. I mean, Von True. But there are plenty of Von True who have allies rather than servants. And it's very refreshing, to be honest. So in the context of a kindred court, the sheriff works closely with the scourge. The sheriff generally, sometimes is a martial position, but more importantly, is an informant position. They are sometimes called Master of Assassins. They track intrigue. They follow, often they have connections in government and police enforcement. And then, sometimes the sheriff is both the information gatherer and also, the hammer, so to speak, that acts upon that information. Here, this would be, Louis, and he points to the big scary dude in the trench coat, is our scourge, and it is his job to enforce the rules of the traditions, with force.
I tip my hat to him.
He barely acknowledges you exist.
A follow-up question to that. Would your Master of Assassins and information gathering, who disappeared into a void that no one is sure where they went to, being possibly in the custody of people who have the ability to drop an entire planet's worth of resources on you, be of some concern for your personal safety?
Oh, all of this is of concern for my personal safety and that of our existence. I can only worry about one thing at a time. This is why I very much like Mix Rosencrantz's plan of finding a kindred gulag, if there is one on planet.
So, what did you have your new sheriff doing instead of finding your old sheriff?
Well, I started her off on a simpler task. I mean, there's also the possibility that Gustav is still here somewhere and just doesn't want to be found. A very good sheriff would be very difficult to find if he feels he is being followed by the kind of government boogeyman that, well, not a boogeyman, they are real, people have been disappearing. It's possible he's hiding somewhere else and just hasn't made himself known yet. He's very much a survivor. I have a great deal of respect for the man, if only we can find him again. So I gave Lana the less complicated task of talking to another member of our family who is confirmed on dysnomia and getting her to return. And she failed at that. So you can see why I'd like to widen my talent pool with people whose talents are known.
Was the person confirmed to be on dysnomia, or was their family confirmed to be on dysnomia?
Well, she is,
We We were just discussing kindred who have gone missing without hide nor hair being found of them. Perhaps the person she was sent to find is one of those.
No, Rosa is definitely on dysnomia.
I believe.
And she is of my blood.
Are any of the other disappeareds of your blood? And also, is Gustav the one you appointed, or the one that was in the seat when you arrived as leader of the city?
Oh, Gustav took over the position about 5 years ago. Still relatively young for a kindred sheriff, but very effective. Which gives me all the more reason to be concerned that we can't find him. I'm hoping it's because he doesn't want to be found yet.
Fair. But what I am saying is, was he sheriff before you were Hierophant, or?
No. He raised his hand rather enthusiastically for the position when it became vacant.
I see.
Fair.
When did you rise to your current level?
You are being very quiet again, Rosencrantz.
I said, when did you rise to your current level?
About 10 years ago, so I am still relatively young for a de facto prince of the city, but I was a seneschal for centuries.
Of course.
A seneschal is like the vice president.
We don't have presidents.
Well, there are places that have presidents. I mean, we have a president on Lagoi currently. Well, within Limos' system currently. But all of that happens... Oh, I've been writing notes on the wrong page. All of that happens in Horkos, I'm afraid. We used to have a very fine Elysium in Horkos, and... I'm sorry, I can't speak of it. Anyway, current plan, current problems. I'll check my notes later. Okay. So, basically, bring me back more of my kindred, convince them that this will be safe if we make it safe. If we work together. I mean, we're the Acolytes of the Void, we're also the Circle. We are a circle. Even if one kindred is called to rule for the sake of governing, I will accept the kindred of this planet back with open arms if they will just trust me.
But as you know, trust is a two-way street.
Indeed. If they just want to give me their demands or their concerns, I'll be more than happy to address them.
Well, I'm certain...
The same way you... never mind. My apologies.
Mix Rosencrantz?
I'm certainly willing to carry your word and see what can be found. After all, united we stand, or perhaps hide. Divided we must certainly fall.
I do not see it as hiding, but standing in the shadows.
If you like.
I mean, I'm Deva, but there are certainly other clans who agree that perhaps in the shadows is where we belong. And is where we were happiest. Where we were most fulfilled. And that is just our place in the universe.
I will send back through my head brain to John Rando's computer. I can't understand why everybody is leaving him behind. He seems so nice.
I'm not responding to I can't text and pay attention at the same time because I'm still keeping an eye on everybody in the room, but especially Mr. Louis.
I'm not paying attention to the vampires. Just,
Fuck you, I'm a changeling. Fuck these people.
I look like a hobo, but if I took my glamour off, I'd look even worse. Because aren't you an ogre?
yeah, I'm a very pretty ogre.
Yeah.
Fair. Nova Court ogre. Oh God. No, sorry. Doing it by court ogre.
More puns!
Yes, and like that.
Yeah, I send a note back to Rosencrantz. We're taking this guy's money and getting as many people the hell out of here as we can, right?
I'll send back. Pretty good plan. Honestly, he's got a good plan, except for the whole part about how he's a complete jackass.
I mean, it would be a great plan if someone else were in charge.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It wasn't him.
Like.
Joshua, you still gotta talk into the mic. You keep trying to hide the mic, and we can't hear you.
Damn it, mic handling is hard.
Oh, Fadir gave me 2 more GM +1s for the pun. Oh, okay, no. That's punishing Merc for the pun.
Ah.
Well, thank you for the +1s.
I will, I'm rather proud of myself, so.
And someone named Mercurqui just bought 2 player +1s. That's what. So long as your accounts are watching our stream and beefing up our numbers, I am okay with this.
All right. Can I extract myself? Can we extract ourselves from this uncomfortable court meeting?
Please, God, yes. Let's get to
Uh,
a conversation.
Well, what? Yeah. And you know, the Hierophant is still talking about what an excellent leader he is and how his political acumen has, you know, he doesn't understand why the Ventrue don't I don't understand why the Ventrue don't have more respect for my political acumen. Perhaps they don't understand the idea of political passion, which is maybe more the way of the Deva than that of the Ventrue. Like, do you have any insight on this while you're trying to text in your head? But you can do both, I'd say.
I can multitask. I have a whole device for that.
I don't understand why the kindred just don't come back. Don't they trust in our own traditions?
Well,
If you're not gonna fake a phone call to get us out of here, I will slice my hand open all the way. See how much blood I can get on this thing and see if that brings everything to a screeching halt.
Well, how
I would certainly not attempt to teach a ruler how to rule. That is, after all, your business. But I think
you are a credit to your lines. But even you would know, Mix Rosencrantz, that those of us who know the price of power embrace selectively and carefully.
Oh, I absolutely agree. After all, each embrace is itself a potential risk of masquerade.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think we've had enough discussed that we can continue to business, yes?
Oh, yes.
I would not want you to disturb you further.
Oh, no disturbance. I appreciate the brainstorming session with like minds who are up for these kinds of political shenanigans. And who know that the Kine are here to be ruled fairly from the shadows, that's how we do it. It is refreshing to find a new like mind in the system, and I'm so sad to hear you're not planning on staying, but perhaps I could change your mind once you see what we have to offer.
I have, after all, a rather important charge for my prince.
Well, I certainly don't want to get in the way of family loyalty, but you will always be welcome at my court.
Thank you. I will try not to abuse that.
Oh, I don't think you could.
Hmm.
But yes, my Mistress of Elysium will furnish you with information on how to contact Sheriff Lana. And also, BB, our Mistress of Elysium, will also give you her contact information so that if you need to know of a safe place, she knows, well, she knows what holdings we have on this planet. She knows all of them. That is her job.
Excellent.
And you can work out logistics with our sheriff, who will keep me informed.
I look forward to it.
But yes, I find this plan is most agreeable. I will happily grant you my resources if this is the plan. I won't even ask for a boon, because I know you, of all people, could, with your lineage and your skill set, I'm sure, can convince the courts of Lagoy to return.
Well, whether it was in my power or not, I would not attempt to do so against their own will. But
well, they just think this is their will. They just need to be more thoroughly explained that we have a plan.
I am certain that
And the means to implement it.
that Rosenkrantz is eminently qualified to do so, and
Fantastic.
we shall do our best to see that everyone is taken care of in the way that best suits them. So, I believe that step one will be to go out into the city and see what we can find.
Fantastic. Again, contact the sheriff or the keeper if you need any additional resources. I am at your disposal.
absolutely. Thank you for your audience.
Oh, drop by anytime. I'm just sorry our parties are not quite as lively as they used to be. But again, all are welcome. If you could inform, I understand there are other shadow people still on planet.
Dune,
if you would let us know.
Dune fucks up a bow again and turns around to start leaving.
Yep. No, I think it's time to make our departure.
Very well. Come back
As
anytime.
much as the prince would like to talk and talk and talk.
About himself.
Always about himself.
Yep, and again, the Mistress of Elysium, Dune, you heard her footsteps more audibly when you came in. Again, she is unnervingly quiet. And you can you're not sure if this is magic or, like, practice, but in these echoey halls, she is eerily silent and just quietly, her head is up once you leave. Her head is down, and then she's outside of the throne room, and her head is up again, and just stoic mask, and just leads you out.
When we get to the door, but before we get to the room with the man in it, I'm going to...
The lobby.
The lobby, yeah. I'm going to get ahead of her and turn and hold my hand out and go, "It was very nice of you to help us get through this area. I know that sometimes magical places can be confusing to those who they're not designed for." Hand out in my best chummy wolf blood manner, you know.
She doesn't take it, but she kind of stops for a minute, like that interrupted whatever her train of thought was. But betraying no emotion except for that momentary pause of, like, buffering.
Mm.
And and it's like her face changes completely, like, "Thank you. It is nothing. It is my job as Mistress of Elysium to make sure all who walk our hallowed halls are taken care of."
I'm gonna be pretty insistent about the hand. Like, even have it turn into, like, hold it out so I can, kiss hers or whatever. I want her to take my hand.
She'll kind of gingerly touch it, like she's
cool. I'm gonna grip it and I give her one solid shake, but I'm really gonna do some slipping her the piece of paper with my number on it, my personal number. In case she's one of the ones who wants to get away, so she has a direct line to us without having to go through Mr. High and Mighty.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't seem at all startled by the firm handshake and betrays nothing about the number slip. So you're not even sure if she noticed it happened.
She has it if she needs it. That's really what was important.
It is so nice to meet gracious people willing to aid us in our cause to rebuild the city. Or rebuild Lagoy.
I had manners firmly impressed upon me when I was but a wee cub. I know how to behave, mostly, in houses of well repute.
Oh, we're not such well repute, but we get by.
That you do, ma'am.
And she sort of smirks.
And I will step back into line, basically.
She smirks and keeps going. She pulls out something akin to a cell phone, and, Mix Rosencrantz, do you have title that I need to be aware of?
I do not.
Alright. Do you have a contact email or number for me to contact you with the information?
Absolutely. Although in these times, I think a couple of dead drops would probably do best.
Oh, absolutely. We have those as well. We are very efficient here. We have to be. To keep each other safe.
Quite.
So, yeah, you, establish information drops between you and the sheriff and the keeper. And yes, and she's like, feel free to contact me if you need, as the Hierophant said, if you have any need for safe space, safe haven, that can be arranged.
Thank you. And do contact me if there's any need for transport. We have our own resources, even if most of them are not on the planet.
Oh, we are not leaving Lagoy.
Oh, I do not.
This is our
But you
home.
may need to ship something off that needs to go, or something brought in.
Understood. Well, I mean, you are a tourism company.
Exactly.
So yes, feel free to contact me, you or your allies, crew, business associates. Just let me know. And she just, again, very quietly, almost like she's a ghost, just sort of, you're in the lobby by now, and she just sort of flits back into, her Elysium. Well, the Prince's Elysium.
Yep, definitely the Prince's Elysium. If no one else's.
And
Probably no one else's.
And the kid at the counter just sort of nods since none of you checked anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Do we want to head back and head back to the ship to decompress?
I will slip a small bottle, like a taster bottle of moonshine out of a pocket and put it on his desk as a tip. And
he
keep
just
walking.
He's like, he nods a bit more emphatically and just very deftly, like it's just suddenly not there. Just as quickly as you put the bottle down, it's gone, and he's just like, yeah. So some people in this place still have emotions.
And aren't afraid to show them, more importantly.
Depends on who's watching.
Yeah.
So we'll just say, yes, you, outside, you are in one dark corner of a vast sea of neon lights that just stretch as far as you can see to the horizon. And one moon and no stars.
It is a little hard to breathe up here, so I'm gonna get my phone, see what those two have been saying this entire time, give them a look, and then text them, discuss back at ship, hard to breathe.
Yeah, you both feel a little lightheaded once you're outside. Not too bad, but shouldn't
enough
be
that I don't
outside.
want to have a long conversation out, out and about.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone want to make any detours before getting to the ship, or should we just be back at the ship?
I'm once again on the way back down, like before, like the last patch, like I can see, beyond this is darkness and neon. I'm just gonna, spend a couple minutes, just give a couple seconds, amount of time in the moonlight, just shaking off
Mm-hmm.
being in a vamp den.
Yep, you descend back into the depths of Lagoi, where the air becomes more breathable, but also smokier, so not entirely breathable, and more polluted, and ew. The smell of... You smell even more, like, higher up than you would have expected from going from the bottom to the top. You smell more specific, like, the must and the rot and decay and the rusting of... There is not enough air circulation down here. And you smell it... You didn't smell it so strongly in the parking lot before you were up in the upper echelons of the city.
Going nose blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're back on the ship now.
Back on the ship. Jellycat looks up from whatever Jellycat was doing.
I pick up Jellycat and cuddle it.
Yeah, he kind of drips, but he doesn't drip out of your arms. He just sort of drips over your arms, like. Blah.
Yep.
His face elongates like silly putty.
All I'm saying is 2 16-man fire teams, and we can solve this problem in an evening.
Wait, what did you just say?
All I'm saying is 2 16-man fire teams, and we can solve this problem in a night.
So we're all agreeing that the prince is an unfit ruler.
Obviously.
Oh, I'm
he's mostly complaining about...
letting him have a city.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch any of that. What?
What? You go.
Rando,
Rando, speak.
Well, I'm sure he's fit to be a ruler of something. I just don't think it would be a city.
I would not give him rulership over a sand castle if it contained any subjects.
Rosencrantz, you are the established expert on all things. We're going to call them Fang related. So,
He can't control himself. How can he possibly control his people? He has a good plan, but he is utterly unfit to execute.
is there a way that you can think of to actually make him realize that he is incapable of operating this plan as he's described?
Petruchio and Holiday. Well, as you're saying that, sorry, Dune. This isn't so much a Dune question.
No, it isn't.
Roll intelligence and what would this be? Intelligence and empathy.
Allegedly have empathy.
Or socialize, whichever is higher. I'd allow socialize.
But not politics. Okay.
No, this isn't a political issue exactly.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Intelligence?
Number. 13.
I have a 14, so yeah, not much better.
Okay. You're both pretty sure that this guy is like a textbook narcissist.
Yep.
So as long as he thinks you're supporting his idea, he might be willing to do anything you want. Like, he didn't... Petruchio, you're pretty sure he didn't even use any magic whammies on you in there. He is so sure that he is the best and the awesome.
Yep.
So,
And, yeah, like, Dune, you just... Something about that whole audience is making you uncomfortable on a level you can't quite figure out.
That's why I'm holding and petting Jellycat.
Yeah,
At least
yeah.
feeling one honest interaction here on here,
You're not... You can't put your finger on... I won't make you roll... Actually, Dune, roll, what have you got?
so
You've got a dot of empathy. Roll intelligence, empathy. Actually, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just...
Okay, so that's +4. Let's do this.
You've got +1s. You've got like 14. You've got 16 +1s.
I will use a +1 on this.
Okay.
Because I can, and because I probably need to, straight up with you. So that is 13.
Okay, like, it wasn't so bad. It doesn't remind you of a specific event in your childhood, but some part of you, again, feels like a little boy in a very dysfunctional family where interactions with not so much your dad, but your mom and your dad's other partners, like,
Yeah.
you could be in any interaction could end up in a reward or a punishment, and you weren't really sure which.
Yep.
And you just feel uncomfortable. And like what happened when you were getting pat on the head for something and your sibling was in the same stroke being punished, and it just didn't seem to have any rhyme or reason to it.
Fair.
Logic.
Although for doing most of the punishments were corporal, because that's a werewolf's role.
Yeah. It does feel weird because no corporal punishment was done, but it feels to you like it was.
Yeah. Like, it's gotten to the point where a dude has watched people be, laid open to the bone with one strike claws and, not even blink. And that's, but there's this, you don't yell at somebody. You tear their face off if you're mad at them as a werewolf.
So, I dare say you other two folks, also get a sense of just how dysfunctional that family is.
I don't know what you're talking about. My family.
Oh yeah.
My family was awesome. I had an actual solid upbringing. My parents were great. My brother's great. Everything was wonderful.
And you got kidnapped by a change by the true fae.
And things went.
Yeah.
That's true. That was not family. That wasn't family. That was not a family affair.
Yeah, Rando, you also get the sense of discomfort, but like of a dream you don't remember.
Yeah.
Which is giving you a bad vibe also. Which is like, this feels familiar, but I don't know about what, which means it can probably be one thing. And you just feel gross inside. Petruchio, you're a vampire and don't really have emotions the same way other people do anymore.
Yep.
But, like, you've heard of acolytes running cults. And your cult vibe is going off.
So, Rosencrantz, you think I should get a simple country bird lawyer put on my business card?
A what?
A simple country country witch?
Bird lawyer?
Simple country bird lawyer?
Bird lawyer.
Bird lawyer.
The thing I said to the Hierophant.
Ah. I'm just a simple country lawyer, but it's all I heard.
Simple country bird lawyer, but.
Oh, burb, B-U-R-B, as opposed.
No, B-I-R-D.
Okay.
I'm assuming this is a reference I don't know yet, so.
It's still. Because he went with it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, the prince kind of went with whatever crazy shit was said without blinking, but, that's probably because they're the center of the universe and you're all just revolving around him in your own way.
Yep.
We need that.
So, yeah.
If I had my way, I would be revolving. The only thing that would, involving me, him, and a revolver would be 6 rounds to the head.
Okay.
Prince couldn't totally be part of the problem. Absolutely not.
It would be great if you had another vampire to ask about this.
Yes, it would. Are there other vampires we could possibly ask about this?
I don't know, Rosencrantz. Is there?
Didn't you make a friend? Who literally lived in the system? Who was hiding on Dysnomia? And who
That's right. Yes, I will in fact send something to my friend in Dysnomia saying, what the hell is up with the prince? um,
Well, the first response is, you know, you're all still chatting and decompressing, and the jellycat is jellying. The jellycat senses Dune's discomfort, and so, like, gently bites Dune. Like, not even to break the skin. You know, for jellycat, it is a term of affection when he bites without breaking the skin.
Yeah.
You're not sure how he has teeth, but something sharp is happening.
Yeah.
And your hand goes a little bit numb,
Dune
but not
is
as badly as that time you tried taking a treat away as a joke and Jellycat attacked.
I didn't do that.
Jellycat,
Yeah, that was a
Dune-
whole misunderstanding, but still Dune is the one that got bit.
Fair. No, but yeah, no, Dune is very familiar with biting, not breaking skin in the form of affection, so.
Did I mention Jellycat might have a poison attack? Well, he
sense.
does, but he's part jellyfish.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, Jellycat is noticed Dune is uncomfortable in new ways. It's like trying to be comforting, but it's really just kind of creepy to the rest of you because it is a Jellycat.
It's the closest thing Dune has found on this planet to a real cat, and he's gonna stick with it, fuck it, you know?
I mean, there's real cats on Eden, but yeah, you haven't really seen much wildlife here, so
Yeah.
any port
apparently
in a
there are
storm.
horses.
Apparently there's horses.
Apparently, there are horses.
Okay. Well, are we going to have to rescue the horses? I want to get this out of the way now so that it's on paper. Whatever nonsense you two decide that we have to do. Are we saving the horses or are we leaving the horses?
Petruchio, as you know that the elite people of the world will do shit like have entire like farm, stadium, racetrack things indoors in a megacity and the animals are well kept because, you know, they have to race. So
I
it's,
think the horses will be fine.
yeah.
The horses are not the part of the problem here.
The ponies are fine.
Unless somebody has been making vampire horses, or ghoul horses rather, the horses will be fine.
Does this kind of one, what's a ghoul? Two, does this person strike you as the type of person that would make a ghoul horse? Whatever the hell that is.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past this guy to make ghoul horses, you understand?
One note about ghouling animals. I go with the rule that you need to have at least one dot of animalism to ghoul an animal and actually have it be under control. Otherwise, you are putting your vampire beast upon a beast, and it's just double beast murder you or die trying. So, yeah, but you know, prince of a city or a planet could easily have a dot of animalism.
Because I don't know if we can put vampire ponies on the ship. I don't know if we have space for that.
Now I'm having a girl genius flashback.
Well,
Oh, that girl genius bit.
I don't know.
Jelly cow. Well, jelly horse.
Oh, a lost horsey! Oh, we'll take you back to our circus and you'll be fine! Ah! Oops. Anyway. So you send a message to,
Toby, I think.
Toby, Tobias, and his first response is just a whole page of la 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 la.
Oh, let me count the ways. They are more numerous than the summer's days.
And then, how did that go? So you met the asshole in charge. How did that go?
He's light.
Managed to get out without pissing him off or compromising.
Actually,
my
at this point,
time.
there's a weird request on this dead drop for like point-to-point conversation. It's like, ring ring, do you want to talk? Because this is too funny to text. Like he says like, how did that go? And then he just calls you. And it's like, do you pick up?
Sure, why not?
It's like, oh, bitch, you met the. Oh, what are they? They're the Hierophant, right? Not the prince. Like, hi.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Tobias. We haven't actually spoken before. Who am
No,
I
we
actually
haven't.
talking to? You're
just
one of the
call me
Karve.
Russian France. It's good for here.
Alright.
That man
Oh
was
my god, that's terrible.
Yeah, so, yeah, he's a
the
lot.
Hierophant is he's his worst enemy.
Yeah. Oh, but why are all the vampires leaving my city? I'm
he
the
even has a good
perfect.
plan, and I've even got a good plan. He does have a good plan. It would be a great plan if he wasn't in charge.
Hmm.
And if,
It would
you know, people actually were willing to buy into it rather than trying to force people into it.
It would be a workable plan if someone competent was in charge. I don't know that it's a good one, especially not with how much technology has advanced since it was first implemented.
Oh yeah, so
It is.
did he give you his spiel as I'm a political genius?
Yes, and he's obvious. Oh my god.
Do you know what he actually does?
What does he actually do?
So
Does he make
He
coffee?
abused his sheriff in front of us.
Oh yeah, he's an emotionally abusive douchebag. Yeah. More than one of his own childer have fled to Dysnomia.
Good.
And they ain't going back. What did your friend say? Rando?
We heard that one of his children had fled.
More than one.
Well, no, about one specifically, because he was telling the sheriff about Rosa.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Did he? How hard did he love bomb you?
Oh,
As like the new
God.
flashy people who are his new favorites, and he will lavish all sorts of attention and affection on you until you disappoint him.
At
and
which
then-
point we'll get the sting of his ire. Yes.
Yeah. What he does, what he considers to be political acumen, and you can hear the air quotes in his voice, is that he hears what he wants to hear, and if it's not what he likes, he sends a hit squad to kill you. And like
Well-
you saw, like, did you see this? Was the Scourge around? That's
Yes.
not only even his only hit guy. He's so he thinks so he works a lot with the Archimedes Syndicate. He thinks he's in control of that too.
Oh.
Of
Yeah.
course, the Archimedes Syndicate.
Because, I mean, they're the only party in town for black market shit, so, but, yeah.
Oh, so that's why he's going. The Megacorps totally haven't taken a line on. Totally, haven't chosen a side. I mean, they haven't exactly, except they totally have.
Well, I mean, their side is their side, because they're
Yep.
Megacorps. They don't really, if Supernats, like, they have actually been canvassing on Dysnomia for Supernats to work with them. They've even said they're willing to quietly work with union folk. Like, they're trying to get the Supernats on their side up here, just in case we're not, eliminated. Also, whoever's useful and profitable, welcome to the Megacorp.
Yep.
They're not offering us full employee status, but they have been willing to work with us, for work. It's
In the meanwhile,
interesting.
if the system joins the core, they're going to go along with it.
Yeah, I mean, they'd have to, because,
Yep.
the bulk of the workforces and facilities are, humans. So, like, okay, so what Hierophant Asshat does, did he do that thing I can't talk about 10 years ago, it was too traumatizing.
What the hell happened there?
Yeah, so, okay, so he was the Seneschal for centuries, so he does supposedly know how politics work. It's just that he bullies people and then calls it politics.
Yep.
And then doesn't understand when they leave and never come back. Like, this isn't actually a new problem. It's been very severe now, but, like, more than one person I've gotten through your network out of the system, more than one of them has been not because of government persecution, but because of douchebag persecution.
Yep. No, I was assuming that at least some of the diaspora was people who saw how bad things were getting and took it as an excuse to get away from this guy.
Yeah, so the previous prince of the city was also a Deva asshole. She actually took Prince. She was also an acolyte, but she went by Prince. Was Prince Camille, And they worked together with this bullshit for centuries of, well, if you'd stop saying what we want to hear and doing what we want you to do, we will, you know, we will just straight up murder you.
Yep.
Or drive you out of town or whatever. And pulling that whole, like, abusive parent bullshit with, like, everyone in their old boys club. And then, but there is no old boys club, kind of like, it was really toxic. So, and then this thing happened. He has this child, probably has a position of authority now because there's no one left. So his whole VIP club has no one left to rule over, so I wonder how that's going. So Kelvin did this New Year's party that was vampire themed about 10 years ago, and it wasn't like, we weren't being actively persecuted like we are now, but it was still like, we've been falling back into the tradition of the masquerade for a few centuries now, because it's the Expanse.
Right, makes sense.
You know, it's not tolerant here, so it's just better to just not be out. At least as far as vampires are concerned. I don't know about everyone else, like, but that's how we did things. So, what Camille actually said, based on people I know who were actually in the room when it happened, she said, your child Kelvin needs to be punished for the masquerade breach. What Mezu heard, or decided that she said, is that Kelvin needs to be put to death. And this caused, like, this huge schism, like, the whole court was split down the middle, and their Devas, they just started summoning, like, all of the kindred in the city to fight for them. And this was back, we had a whole big fancy Elysium in Horkos before all the Supernat detectives went, and this fight just took all of that shit out, just utter destruction. And, you know, those of us with influence were able to cover up the new masquerade breach and say it was like I forget how we spun it. I have to look back in the news archives, but like, and like, so and like, even Rosa, like, I've hung out with her and she's like, oh, it was terrible, child turning on parents, sibling on sibling, clanmate on clan, and like, we're working on like helping her get through this. She's at that stage where it's like, I feel so much better without those people around me, but I don't know why. It must be my fault. And we're like, no, it's not.
Yep.
But, you know, she needs some healing, and that is not exactly my area. So yeah, completely destroyed the old Elysium. And it's very easy for, you know, it was very easy for the politicians left over to say everything that went badly was the fault of the people who are gone now. Either killed or left with Camille and all that bullshit. And then there were people who were, like, being partially manipulated there, who kind of in the middle of the battle were like, why are we doing this?
Yep.
Why? Question. Answer. What's up?
Where is Camille now?
I don't know. She's not on dysnomia. This was 10 years ago. She could be in any other system that's not the core.
Fair.
I mean, we speculate a lot that I'm very not convinced that there are not vampires still in the core and that this whole bullshit is just a way for them to have dominion over everything. But we can't actually go there without getting deathed, so we don't know.
Well, if there are, they're very good at what they do. So
yeah. So, like, and then they blame everything, you know, the Hierophant blames everything that went wrong with the prince on the prince's faction, even though it was also his faction. And it was, like, for the rest of us that had not been, like, manipulated out of our minds, it was just like, oh, so they're now doing to themselves what they were previously doing to everyone else who wouldn't dance to their tune all these years. And it was just a whole, like, ridiculous mess. And then, like, for those of us who were like, you know what, do we really need to be involved in the court to, like, get our shit done? And it's like, no. So we all just stopped going. So, like, and we just figured, well, we're not going to breach the masquerade, we're not going to breach the tradition, so we'll just do our thing and ignore the Hierophant.
I don't suppose that this is a particularly kind question to ask.
We're not kind people, so go for it.
Who would be next in line if the Hierophant were perhaps to trip over a long stairs and break his neck off at the waist?
I don't even... There can't be more than 10 kindred left on that whole planet.
Yeah, there were...
So it's really just whoever beats up the most people to get to the top, and then they'll be alone.
There were like 5 people in the court. I assume anyone who could get me pried away was already pried away. I mean, I'd like to try to get some of the others to leave. Some of them didn't seem quite... Some of them seemed more in the system than others.
Dude, don't... I'm sorry. Non-dude. My new friend, Gentle Them, don't waste your sympathy on these assholes.
I understand.
There's no rule that says horrible people can't abuse each other.
Yep.
And, do not let the Scourge get the drop on you. That guy is a stone-cold murderer. Do not fuck with him.
Louis seemed pretty invested in the business, so did Heckle and Jekyll.
The sheriff seemed perhaps not quite as sold on the whole thing.
Well,
but
I mean, he needs to beat up on someone to prove he's the biggest dog in the room. I mean, the Hierophant needs to, you know, make sure everyone obeys him by reinforcing that he is in charge.
Oh.
I'm simply saying that we may or may not have sold the Hierophant a line about taking a few of his people, perhaps a few of his last remaining people, and staging a grand escape or destruction or exodus or what have you, and then he can claim that there are no kindred left on the planet, so that those who remain behind might possibly find some measure of anonymity. I don't believe he has the chops to do it, but if we manage to get him to go enough to give us the people he no longer values, the ones he abuses, we'll be able to get out of there with perhaps the last few who could not get away from him.
That's the thing you don't get. He does value them, that's why he abuses them. He's not gonna let them go. There's only 10 vampires left on Logoi at most, unless there's more hiding from all the blackbagging that got away and are hiding effectively. Like, he's not gonna let them go.
What do we know about Gustav? What do you know about Gustav? And whether or not they managed to escape or if they got someplace else?
Well, Gustav's not here. Is he? Oh, yeah, you said... Who's sheriff now?
Lana?
Lana. Yeah, Gustav's not here. I did hear people say they think he got blackbagged by the government. But yeah, he was definitely, like, I wouldn't fuck with him. He didn't particularly like me, but if he doesn't want to be found, he won't be. He might still be in the city. I mean, there were Nos Warrens pocketed all over the place. I just don't... Even I don't know where they are, because Nos are very protective of their catacombs.
Sure.
Understood. But yeah, he's not any of them left on the planet. I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to you know, indoctrinate Rosencrantz and then not let you go. Once he thinks you're useful and he can control you. Like, I'm not gonna tell you how to do your... Like, I wouldn't work with him because he's such an asshole and has fucked up so much of what could have been a really... Like, yeah, like you said, his plan wasn't bad. It's just he is such a fucking narcissist.
Yes.
He can't understand his own shortcomings. And, well, that's the thing about the best gaslighter, or the most skilled gaslighters. They believe their own bullshit.
And it's not just that he's an asshole who gaslights people, it's that he doesn't have the skills to back up any of his own bluster, as it were.
Well, he might have plenty of influence and pull still on the planet, so you could probably use that, so long as he thinks you're supporting his plan.
As long as he thinks we're supporting his plan.
As long as we manage to snow him along that our goals align with his.
Like,
that's really the long and the
I'm
short
not
of
gonna
it.
tell you what to do. Like, I don't know y'all's skill set, but like, I wouldn't want to make a bargain with the delusional ruler of hell. But if y'all think you can snow this asshole, like, go for it. I will not tell a soul. I will. I don't know what I could do to help.
Hit squad at some point in the way.
Can you eat your mic, please, sir?
That said, if we go too far on this, we may end up having to deal with the hit squad.
Yeah.
I already have a hit squad to deal with, but I'm sure I can make time for a second one.
I don't think that he's
like,
outside of my skill set.
Well, keep in mind, aside from the stone cold killer monster that is the Scourge, most of his actual resources, well, no, I'd say he probably picked up influences that other people dropped when they ran like hell for dysnomia.
He implied that, yeah.
Like, I don't doubt that. He can't have picked them all up because there's just not enough hours in the day. Like, we still need to sleep. Like, he just doesn't have enough people on the ground to do all of it. But he probably has a lot for you to work with if you're willing to put up with his bullshit. Yeah. But, like, be very careful. But a lot of his hit squad capability is from Archimedes Syndicate. If you want to deal with them, but that is, we're going with the devil you know kind of deal here.
Well, we already have agreement from at least one group in the city who is a holdout that they would leave. I don't know that there is much more we can do for the vampires who remain.
Okay, there are vampires that want to leave?
He says that there are some in his court. He says that there are some in his court who wish to leave and who do not have...
No, he didn't.
Oh.
He did not say that.
No.
His court loves him and wants to stay. The people on Dysnomia love him and just don't know it yet.
He said there were some disloyal people who were making noises like they wanted to leave.
Yes,
no, he said that they were bad-mouthing him to the other Supernats.
Ah.
He said those were on Dysnomia, though. Those people weren't...
The Thin White Duke is the one who insinuated that there were unhappy vampires within his court that wanted to leave, but he didn't necessarily come out and say that directly.
Because you never know when one might be listening.
Do not believe the horrible rumors you've heard about me. They're totally
false. The wizard guy, he's still around.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's cool. Well, I mean...
He's odd, but, He's
odd, yeah. I mean, he's trying to stay behind. My understanding from the mages up here is that he's trying to get his holdouts out. But, so, I mean, that's cool of him.
Yeah.
Sure.
But basically, that guy, he's, mages don't have a prince, but he's kind of the prince equivalent of the mages, but not nearly as fucked up as the vampire one.
Ah, the herder of cats, I see.
Yeah. Herder of cats. That's the Duke. Or we call him that because it bugs him. Or rather, the mages call him that because it bugs him. And mages are assholes, man. Not to say we're not, but,
I think it rather depends on what the pack has to say who is still here.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. So, once most of us realized, what if we just didn't go to court? And just ignored all this bullshit and just kept on doing our, manipulation of the mortals in our own way from our own shadows. And that worked for a lot of us, but, like, any time that crappy little family got wind of, like, not even breaking traditions, just if they perceive anyone to be a threat, they will take you out.
Yep.
I think the only reason they're not, having a hit squad hit people on Dysnomia is that just because we're all here together and it's very hard to be sneaky on a bright yellow planet with, like, no alleys. There's, like, no alleys here. It's so weird. But like,
how long do you think it's gonna last over there?
I don't know. I'm not so good at this government bullshit. None of us have influence over that, and we are just basically some people are holding out hope that they'll just leave us alone. But like I see the writing on the wall. Like, it's not just Lagoi that's joining the core; it's Limos system. So we have to get out.
But I believe that depending on when the changelings get themselves in order on this planet, we may be leaving it fairly shortly thereafter, and coming to Deimos to pick up who we can.
I mean,
who's willing to go.
I'm more than happy to help, but like a lot of my influences in transportation and shit were on Lagoi, not
fair.
I mean, I have other contacts. I
was mainly thinking that perhaps you could start spreading the word to join up into one area, so that we can do a simple flyby and pick up whoever's willing to go whenever it becomes time.
Well, to do that, I would need like a specific date and time. Like, I'm not saying I won't do that, but we'll also need to talk about how many ships you're gonna... Like, I can start putting out, like, feelers, figuring out who actually wants to go and who won't leave the system.
I believe the number that I was given, although I do not know because it is not my particular wheelhouse, was 2,000 in our ship.
You have a ship that fits 2,000 people?
We have a hollow ship.
Ish.
What's... I don't know what that means. You mean like a changeling hollow?
Yeah.
Don't pass that on.
Don't pass that on.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I mean, there's a lot of people in this. I think we're gonna need more than that one ship.
We're gonna need more than that, but at least it's a useful resource.
Like, I'll start putting, feelers out and figure out, okay, who just wants to leave? Because, like, people are doing their best building out the colony up here, but it's rough.
Are people running the colony as Masquerade also, or?
Not really, just because so many of us are Supernats, and the humans and Supernats... Well, the humans that were living up here already were kind of like, yeah, whatever, Supernats. Surprisingly well disposed towards vampires, because it is a spaceship building yard, and they're like, well, they don't have to breathe. They can fix a lot of stuff after we've launched the ships that we can't. So long as they're in a thermal suit, they're fine. So, I mean, the people, the humans who were already living up here, and there were already Supernats up here, were already, like, pretty chill, they just want to build ships. And they're kind of on the side of the Megacorps taking over, but that doesn't mean they won't boot the Supernats out if that's system law.
Right.
So I can start crunching numbers and talking to people and figuring out just how many ships we need.
And where we can get them.
I would like to book passage on one of these ships and get the fuck out of here.
Good plan.
But yeah, some people will hold out, but like, But I can guarantee you I don't know what kind of schmooze you got, but I wouldn't be able to convince any kindred to go back to Lagoi, even if I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, if people were feeling self-sacrificing, it would be a lovely idea if you didn't have someone already trying to play that role really badly. But also, it's self-sacrificing, and we generally aren't in for that.
Nah, no carve martyrs? I mean, I'm not much of a martyr either.
I don't particularly plan to stay on this hellhole of a planet where you can't even draw breath, nor see the moon unless you're high enough where you can't draw breath.
Yeah. Oh, so the changelings, I heard there was some Church of the Weird folks still out there, but they don't talk about why, so I just...
We've actually managed to convince them to leave, so...
Oh!
It's in process.
It's currently in motion, but the, the plans are there.
Cool. Okay.
Well,
Oh shit, it's almost alone. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
it is almost 11. I was gonna say.
God damn. But we're doing so much role playing.
And catharsis, apparently.
Catharsis. There was a little bit of catharsis there. Yeah.
Definitely
So
voice crack.
I'll help you with what you got. Like so yeah, I will start crunching numbers and then tell you just how much pull you need in the system and what kind.
Right.
Well, I think our original ship number was it would hold 20,000.
Well, no, that's
It's-
about.
Because we have the big one.
Yeah, we have the really big one.
Yeah, we have the big hull. We have the hull that's the size of a small city. Ours-
We sank a lot of points in that hollow.
Or rather, things are a lot cheaper in COD than NWoD.
that is not untrue.
Oh. In character. Alright, so, I'll be in contact. I don't know what help I can be against the stupid-ass Hierophant than what I've already told you that he won't because, but that might show that he's not the center of the universe. How
Yes,
can...
but I'm
Why do
hoping
so many
Kate
kindred
remembers.
want to leave? But I'm so wonderful. I don't understand. You can hear the eye rolling.
Haha.
I pet the cat harder. It's just like, nope, don't want to think about that guy.
Too hard.
Stop backing off a little bit. Okay.
Okay, before he bites you again.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll be in touch. I guess if you have any more vampire questions, ask me, but, like, most of us are up here now. For now. Unless they've fled the system completely. How, I don't know. Or they're still hiding on the planet. I'll ask around about Gustav.
Yeah.
He certainly won't be happy if I'm asking about him, but I'll see what I can do.
Oh, did you have a problem with you?
He didn't... We didn't agree on a philosophical level, let's say. He was definitely in the mindset of we are here to rule everyone else because we're better. And I'm more like, we're not so much better as just, able to live longer. And the trade-off is, we're monsters.
Fair enough. Philosophical level, I see.
Not all kindred like to think of themselves as monsters. I don't really like it either, but I've seen some shit and I accept it. So I see myself as a shepherd of others, including getting them out of this system when things go badly for them.
Yeah, fair
As
enough.
I have done for your organization for many years.
Indeed, and I hope you can at some point be in a position to do that more. But in the meanwhile,
I'm not sure there's a lot of Expanse systems left where we can
that
go.
as well.
So, I mean, we play the long game. I can set up shop on a Verge world and just wait for it to catch up with me. Maybe
And
become a
like-
prince. Yeah, I can't even say that without laughing. I'm sorry. Yeah, so,
I'm prince of all I survey. You're looking at rocks and garbage. Yes, you heard what I said.
Yep. Yeah, the Hierophant would love that. Yeah, I would say, like, just leave them in their own little delusional world and get on with the stuff, but they do have
Oh, yeah.
shit you can use.
If they can manage, if there happen to be kindred, gulags sitting around that, and they're not just liquidating people, then they can help find them. Then great. Otherwise,
Wait, so you think there's gulags on the
Well,
planet?
either they're finding some place to move people, or they're turning people into pulp, or they're somewhere on the planet. Right? Those are
I
the three
mean,
possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, it stands to reason that they'd at least keep people alive long enough to interrogate them.
Right.
I'll ask around about that too. Like I said, the Nos were very protective of their warrens, but they live here now, and they're not going back, so I'll see what I can do.
thanks. Yeah, the Noswarrens was definitely one of the possible I was thinking about, but of course they're very protective about them, and we don't generally know where they are.
So, I have a weird question. Like, I heard not the Prince of Eden, but the actual, like, mundane mayor is a Nosferatu?
Yep.
That must be so ridiculous. I may not stay in Eden, but I want to visit. It sounds so ridiculous. I want to see this for myself. Hopefully I live so long.
Kind of the best and the worst. It's a thing.
I've met the individual in question, and they are quite the individual.
Oh, also, are y'all planning to make a visit on Dysnomia at some point?
That was the last
I think
stop up before we
that's
leave.
part of the plan, yeah.
We're getting people the hell off of Lagoy. Why did I say Igloo for some reason? I'm sorry. But I believe the plan as it stands calls for going to Dysnomia and filling the ship before we go back to Eden. Because I don't know that once we leave, we can come back to here again.
It depends on when the crackdown is. Honestly, I would say I don't know how y'all do what you do on your end, but you might want to take a look at the colony now, and maybe, because people here know me, but they also know me. So there's that.
That's fair. If we can get, throw a fit, not a big one, just a small one.
Like if you guys need transport up here, like there's some people I know who might be able to transport you quietly, and you can leave your own ship on, but we can work that out.
I think it would be perhaps a good idea to split our forces and send some representatives to Dysnomia while the rest of us finish things down here, because we really only have one, perhaps two major factions to end with down here, and the changelings I've already agreed to move, as it were.
Okay. Alright. Keep me posted when you come up here, and I can help smooth that experience.
That would be lovely, because I think it'd be a little too loud to move our ship over there and then go right back.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much likely you're in Ponos, right? Yeah, they probably scanned that there were Supernats on your ship, because the core government has that tech and sent you to the crappy district.
Makes sense.
Like, it's not to the point where they're actively searching or vaporizing ships with Supernats on them, but I'd say 99% chance they know someone on your ship was a Supernat.
Yep. We tried to hide as much as we could, but I don't really know the tech that well.
Yeah, they're keeping it under wraps really well, and it's very frustrating. But alright, so I've got some numbers to crunch and some people to talk to. So we'll be in touch. Like I said, if y'all want to make a deal with the delusional Lord of Hell, that's on you. Don't involve me. Like, not gonna tell you how to tool your grift, but it's not mine. Yikes.
Yep. We need to make. Well, he only knows disposable identities. If those identities happen to disappear, you know why.
Understood. Alright, so, alright, yeah, I guess message if you have any more questions about the locals that I might be able to answer, but yeah, I'm gonna work on people up here. We'll be in touch.
Yep, absolutely.
Bloop!
Okay, you want to call it here?
Yeah, let's call it here, because it's 11 o'clock.
Yes. I would like to
again,
dinner at some point.
Again, I'm all like, I don't think I wrote enough plot. I'm probably wrong.
I mean,
I do like the role-playing, though.
If we managed to get through the prince a little faster, we probably would have, finished it. But then we decided to call a third party, and we're like, so have you heard? Then we spent an hour talking to Toby on the phone.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Fadir. You're still here. Oh, thanks, friends. Alright, so, this concludes tonight's very roleplay-heavy episode. I was like, Oh, I need stats for all these NPCs in case you catch wind so far they're corrupt that you start fighting them, and that's a bad idea. But, or actually not a bad idea. I mean, it's an idea. It really is only a bad idea if you roll badly, which is generally how I run things here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would like the BFG before I try to take on the Scourge. I have to reassemble it.
That is a scaramofo.
It's a very scary gun. I took out an entire fucking building with that thing.
True. But buildings can't dodge.
The reason I took out the building was because somebody dodged. You remember that, right? I was trying to shoot the ogre.
Oh, yeah. And then I had to get the building health levels, and that was really funny.
It wasn't just you, it was also the camera. The very hungry caterpillar, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
The tap dancing caterpillar. That was such a... Okay, we have a new NPC to introduce, and I have to reacquaint myself with the NPC list of all those wonderful channel point drops. So yeah, so this is Exit to Eden. Our player characters, our protagonists, are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Or rather, I guess the frying pan and the fire might be more adequate. Say, what does it take to stay behind on a planet that's about to go straight to hell? And it's like, well, it takes that kind of level of delusion.
Yep. Well, you know, if they want to go down with this ship, they can go down with the ship. Free will, bud. We're not kidnapping you and, you know, forcibly removing you. No.
Not with a scourge like that. Oh my goodness. Also interesting I've done so much Changeling Center stuff. It was interesting to review the Requiem book and go like, how fucked up can this get? Oh, very, very fucked up. And because I see all of the toxic psychological patterns in this society as it's written, I can go straight for those and make this a very dark world of darkness. Oh, hi Arcane the Sage, you're still here. Thanks, friends. I'm sorry this ran late. So yes, thank you chatlings for watching. If you're watching this on VOD, thank you also for watching. I hope you had a good time. We are also putting these on YouTube, because somehow Twitch managed to be worse about ads than YouTube. I'm sure it would be better for our numbers if everyone watched on Twitch, but I just can't, in good conscience, force everyone to do that. So they're also on YouTube if you'd rather do that. Fadir, I have nothing better to do. Oh, thanks, bro. Thanks. Really means a lot.
I think Fadir's talking about seducing Baba Yaga's hut, but,
I didn't steal the Yaga's hut, I just seduced it. I'll reread this. Baba Yaga will be mad if you when did Baba Yaga show up?
Fadir asked, do you want to drop an NPC? It's a dodging building. I'm like, Baba Yaga would be mad if you stole her hut.
You know what's really funny? You know the Russian guy on who runs the Merchant Marine?
Yeah.
That's the name of his ship. He has a thick Russian accent, and his ship is the Baba Yaga.
Oh, no, I was stealing from Shauna Maguire.
Oh, no, I know, I know the origin myth. I know it's a building on legs, but anyway.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so wrapping up for the night.
Yes.
I've been the GM, and I had a very fun night GMing tonight, so thanks, everyone. I'm sorry my brain was a bit melty. It's just, I'm allergic to summer. Like, as on all the time. And now there's also an apocalypse happening, and half the country is on fire, so my brain is even meltier. So thank you for helping me roll RP and lampshade through my feelings about certain subjects. Although I did update our safety mechanics just in case I went too far, and I don't think I did, but I think you get the gist. But yes, I'm the GM, at Ms. Chrysala on all the social medias, also at Magic Fish Radio on Twitter. There should be 8 bajillion links to all of our social media in chat by now, and they're also on our Twitch page. So, also, every other week, we do Exit to Eden, and then we alternate it with a week of an indie game, and I realize I needed to email people about it, but the plan is next week we are running Fat Magic, which is a 5e 5e setting thing, but also an indie game. I'm still getting used to what indie means in this industry because it's confusing. But I'm an easily confused person, which is why I invent my own realities. But yes, I've been your GM, and I generally run and produce things on this channel, but next week we will have a guest GM and be running Fat Magic. It'll also be the last day of their Kickstarter, unfortunately. I think we'll be running after it ends, but it should still be fun. And yeah, so if you are an indie game fan, designer, developer, artist, and you have an indie game that you would like to see played on some kind of stream, give us a call. Like DMs, emails, communicate through Twitch. You're generally talking to me. Ask on our Discord. Because I'm not going to Gen Con, so I won't get my dose of new and interesting games I've never played before. So I'm going to make all of us deal with that by running more indie games here. Sorry, you're welcome, I'm sorry.
If you want me to run Cerebos again, I'm happy to do that. I would like to.
We might do that again. That was really fun. But we will have to, you know, have modify 3 sessions. Either modify it more or set out for the next 6 weeks, we will be running Cerebos.
Cerebos, yes.
Cerebos. So, yes, and that is my spiel. So, let's everyone do outros, starting with Merc while I look for someone to raid. So, Dune, who are you when you're not dealing with narcissistic vampires?
I'm Merc. I played Dune the Wolfblood this week, and I don't generally do things on my own, so go watch Zombie Orpheus Entertainment on the Zombie Orpheus Twitch channel on Mondays for the Reliables. A TTRPG stream using the Suede rules, Savage Worlds, and about a bunch of heroes who are out to save the world, one mistake at a time. Josh, you're up.
Sure. I'm Josh. You'll see me online various places as Neme or Nemex. I don't do a lot of streaming other than this, but that's where I am.
At Once and Future Doctor on Twitter.
So yes, I found a fun, new to me DJ, who goes by Circuit Witch. And she is, her spiel is that she is a space alien with a pet pig who is also a space alien. And they are really adorable. And you know I love me some space shtick. So, oh, well okay, she's in Be Right Back mode, but her stream is still running. 'Cause it's late for us. Whoops. So yeah. She'll see the raid when she gets back. NBC is doing Twitch Olympics? I don't know.
No, don't bother.
Twitch has Olympics now? Great. Now more things can be problematic. Okay, so, let's put in the raid command. Alright, chat, so, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I'm sorry we ran late, but I hope we were suitably distracting and entertaining from the even more ridiculous reality we all currently live in, at least in the US and adjoining land masses. So, we're still doing the craft streams on weekdays, at least until I am forced to go back to the office, which will probably be late August. So enjoy them while we're doing them, because they won't be around forever. Until then, so join us on weekday afternoons or back here 7 p.m. on Saturday nights when we will play something. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you again soon. Okay, and join our Discord. Bye!